Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Back in the studio and feels so good. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Unlike me, the Cowboys season is on the line tonight. This is, I get to keep going no matter what, and I feel so good to be back in the studio with you, Pearl, but the Cowboys are really up against it tonight, and luckily for them, they're playing a team in the Giants who they've had their number for a long time. But after this game, they play Pittsburgh, they play Detroit. This is a game where they have to come out and win. There is no room for error.
Yeah, you can definitely say that. Now, when you say big pressure must-win game for the Cowboys, immediately I think everybody's mind goes to, this isn't good. This is not a situation where the Cowboys have thrived in recent years. Feels almost like a playoff game. Are you panicking right now if you're a Cowboys fan?
Definitely. You're definitely panicking. I mean, you're panicking after the last 2 weeks where your run defense is exactly what you thought it was, which is non-existent. And here's the thing. I don't think that Daniel Jones and Devin Singletary combination is as scary as Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, but it's not nothing. And
it's close. The quarterback side is nothing.
Daniel Jones can run, though. That's the only thing he can do. Now, he might get hurt in the process, but that's the only thing he can do. Listen, to be honest, if the Cowboys' run defense is as bad as it has been over the last 2 weeks, it doesn't matter who's out there. It could be anybody can run all over them because they haven't shown that they can stop anyone.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true because of what happened last year with the Giants.
They were terrible.
Against the Cowboys. You say anybody. And the other thing, are you nervous? Like, maybe we shouldn't be nervous for the Cowboys because they've owned this team. And maybe it's the opponents that the Cowboys have played. Maybe it's the Ravens are really good, and they were desperate.
Are the Saints good?
The Saints might be pretty good.
Well,
the Saints offense, when Derek Carr is fully healthy.
Okay, but what they do against your Eagles? Absolutely zero.
That was a weird game. They couldn't get the Eagles off the field. But no, the Saints offense, last year the Saints dropped, I think, 30-something on the Bucs. Like, they'll have hot games. I just don't think the Giants are even at the level of the Saints.
I don't either. This should be a very easy one for Dallas. But again, to your point, when we just came on the air, just because it looks easy, they were a 7.5-point favorite over Green Bay. They're last year in the playoffs.
Yep.
Things that made quote unquote look easy are not easy for Dallas. And then you have all week. Listen, I credit the team because they are trying to take accountability, right? This reminds me of CeeDee Lamb doing a mea culpa, saying his body language was bad against the Ravens and owning it. Jerry Jones even taking accountability, saying it is my fault that the team is 1-2 because I'm the person who's ultimately making the decisions. All that stuff is great. What it reminds me of is a little bit like when a team calls a players-only meeting. You've got to call the players-only meeting before a game you are likely to win. Because if you call the players-only meeting and then you play the Chiefs, that's not going to look as great, right? Then what do you do? Then where do you go? What trick do you pull out of the bag? It's a good idea to do all this accountability stuff, first of all, just for the sake of it, but also before you play the Giants, a team you have owned during the Dak Prescott era, a team you have destroyed during the Dak Prescott era, and one where it's like, oh, look, we took accountability and look at what it did for us.
Yeah, I don't think any of the words they say matter. It doesn't matter. Jerry's going to talk. CD can say something. Dak says things. This is like everything's on the field in this situation. Last year, Daniel Jones played one game against the Cowboys before he got hurt. 15 for 28, 104 yards, 2 interceptions.
Not going to get it done.
And it's a short week, so the Cowboys luckily know Daniel Jones. This is everything. Like, forget all the words. They have to show up on the field. This is as do or die as a playoff game. And honestly, I'm going to rue the day I say this. There's no need to panic. They get a perfect get-right game here. And then they're going to win this game, and all the problems are going to go to the side. Then Jerry's going to start saying confident Jerry things instead of accountability is going to go out the window, Maggie. It's going to be all like, yeah, I told you we had it fixed. That's exactly what they're going to say because of their opponent this time.
Okay, so let's just say that this is a quote-unquote easier game for them, a get-right game, if you will. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to follow you there. I don't think the Giants are good at all. I think the Giants are bad, and I think the only reason why the Giants won last week is because Cleveland may be worse.
True.
Okay, so they can beat the Giants all well and good. You go to 2-2. Then what happens? Then you go to Pittsburgh.
That's very fair, but you know how the Cowboys work. It's a week at a time. Forget Pittsburgh. Forget San Francisco. They're going to talk like they just won the Super Bowl after they beat the Giants, if they do.
Okay, but I'm just saying, what's waiting in store here for Dallas? At Pittsburgh, home Detroit, and that was a doozy of a game last year, if you remember that debacle. At San Francisco, at Atlanta, Philadelphia, Houston, Washington, now not a walkover, Cincinnati. We can go on and on and on.
Yeah, but first of all, I think they're favored at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's scoring 17 points a game. I'm not sure that's that. If that scares them, then if they can't beat Pittsburgh, how are they going to compete for the NFC title?
The one thing that Pittsburgh can actually do is run on you.
That's
come on. Like, that's
true.
That's the one thing, and they may have the best defense in the entire league. They probably do.
That's absolutely true. But that being said, like, picture this game. I mean, they're going against Justin Fields. Like, they have a lot of advantages. And you go Detroit, they beat last year. At San Francisco, they'll lose by 30. That's a given. But I think it's the NFC East, and I understand the Commanders looked amazing offensively, but the Commanders' defense is hot garbage. I mean, they're going to get destroyed by Dak. So this is no reason to panic. I feel like we're in too much in the moment because they got killed by the Ravens last week, and the Ravens are just so good.
And the Saints the week before. If this was one loss to the Ravens, you're like, all right, everyone loses.
You're right. No, you're not wrong about that Saints game, but maybe that's an early season game. Sort of extended preseason. I can make excuses for the Cowboys all season long. Jerry should hire me.
Yeah, you should. You can be his hype man. Because also, if Cleveland is this bad, and Cleveland is bad, they're banged up. Deshaun Watson is saying, I'm not a running back. I don't want running plays. I mean, you should be saying whatever helps the team win, I'm willing to do times 100. But anyway, that's Deshaun. And we're not getting that. Maybe that win doesn't look as good as we once thought. We thought, oh, you go to Cleveland, they're great defense. Well, it turns out Myles Garrett's, both of his feet are messed up, and Deshaun stinks, and the offensive line is a Swiss cheese, and all of that. So it's kind of like not just the two bad losses for the Cowboys. It's also, what was your win actually worth?
Well, they beat Cleveland easier than the Giants beat Cleveland. So if we're going to do associative property, they look better against Cleveland than the Giants did.
Well, ipso facto.
Okay,
sure.
Let's have reality talk here. You know how the Cowboys news cycle works. If they do look good tonight, which is a lot of reasons, even though it's in New York, there are a lot of historical reasons I think they'll look good. I think a lot of that panic goes away. And
it's not about. No. It's not about that. It's not about what we say. It's about what happens on the field. If they allow Daniel Jones and Devin Singletary to keep this game close, then what did you just show? Even if they win, but say Jones and Singletary run all over them, well, good luck against Pittsburgh. Because whatever we say, I'm talking about in the building, they should still be panicking if they can't get right against this team.
I totally understand what you're saying, but I just don't think they think like that. I think they're going to just say all the things. It's going to be, I told you, Maggie. I told you that we had things fixed. And then they kind of blindly go into the next assignment without fixing the run game. I mean, the bottom line is that there were some offseason mistakes. I was defending them a lot. I think their run game is kind of sad. Like, Zeke's averaging about 3.5 yards per carry. He is beyond washed. None of the other guys have stepped up, and the run defense is terrible. So how do you win big time in the NFL this year especially? You run the ball and you stop the run. They can't do that. But I think narrative-wise, I think you're a little bit wrong. I think that it's a get-right game tonight. And as long as they win this game, we're going to be like, okay, everything's okay. They need to stop the fire, Maggie. Like, forget Pittsburgh, forget Detroit. Like, they need to go 2-2. And then I think everyone takes a breath. They have a long week, and maybe we could resettle this thing. And Mike McCarthy can feel some confidence. Bill Belichick's out over his shoulder. They're already talking about firing Mike Zimmer. Maybe that slows down. I think everything feels okay if they win this game on Friday morning.
Yeah, I mean, firing the coaches is silly. That would not happen this early into the season. That's a conversation for Jacksonville, not for the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry never pays somebody not to work.
Well, McCarthy's okay. I'm saying Mike Zimmer is embattled already.
I mean, he's been there for 5 seconds.
Yeah, but it's already clearly not working, whatever he's trying. Yeah, he had no idea.
Well, beating the Giants isn't exactly a formula to say everything's great.
I know.
You're a
I
6-point favorite in this game on the road. I know, Manny, this is hard for you to hear, big-time Giants fan. But that's not exactly like the elixir here, because when you have a schedule like they have, I'm not saying like either way the Cowboys are doomed here. I'm just not that impressed if you go on the road and beat the Cowboys.
Of course, the Giants.
It doesn't mean everything's fixed. It doesn't mean everything's
the Giants.
Giants. Sorry,
yeah.
what did I say? Kevin?
Right.
Go on the road to beat the Giants. That to me, it's like it's not like hallelujah, raise the victory banners. Like you didn't do anything. You beat a team you're supposed to beat. Who may be a bottom 5 team in the league.
Why are you trying to apply real logic to the Cowboys season here? You know that's not how it works. You've been doing this long enough. They beat the Giants. Everyone is like, okay, all right. The Cowboys are okay. That's what's going to happen. I'm not saying it's right, and you're absolutely right that there are some tough games on the schedule. I just think this, when you say get right game, if they win this game handily, then everyone is going to feel good in Dallas. That is all I'm saying. They're not going. They're not going to look ahead to Pittsburgh and Detroit. They should, but they're not gonna.
They're gonna feel good because you get a win, and then they're gonna go. Depending on how it looks, then they're gonna go back to the Star and be like, "Oh crap." This worked against the Giants, but is this going to work against the Steelers? Is this going to work against Detroit? Is this going to work against San Francisco, even banged up San Francisco?
Those are 3 teams that, Pittsburgh's playing great, but there are a lot of question marks all over the NFL. I mean, sure. Detroit, Jared Goff has been not good this year. And San Francisco, what team is that? Who knows?
Who cares who's the quarterback for the Lions? You got Jahmyr Gibbs, you got David Montgomery. Jared Goff's going to be a non-factor if the Cowboys can't stop the run. 855-212-4227. Now, Manny, I love being in the studio. I was in the closet in New Jersey yesterday. It's just not the same. First of all, I like seeing your faces in person. But secondly, Manny, you're a big-time Giants fan. Any hope tonight at all that you can maybe put an early nail in the coffin of the Cowboys season? They lose this game, they could be 1-5 by the bye.
Yeah, no, I don't have maybe they'll get a backdoor cover. I don't have much. Okay. I don't have much optimism. I mean, the Giants look fine against the Browns. It gave me a semblance of happiness for once in quite some time.
Yeah. Well, man, you're the Giants, why do you want to win? Like, what's the point? You're not keeping Daniel Jones. You're not making a playoff run. So
I see eye to eye on that situation as well. I mean, I do not want the Giants to go 9-8. I can tell you that much, or 8-9. I also don't want them to go 6-13, whatever the math. I'm not good at math. 6-11.
It's not good. And then 6-13 is pretty bad.
It's a lot of games.
I would rather them, essentially lose 3 games. But again, I have no hopes against the Cowboys today, even though Cowboys suck.
Had to get that in.
Damn right I did.
What's funny about that is, organizationally, of course, the Giants should be trying to careen towards the number 1 overall pick. That makes the most sense in the world. However, you've got a coaching staff that is feeling the heat. Yeah. So nobody's going to lay down here. Like, it's the smarter thing for the organization, but we know it doesn't really work like that.
Right. And when you say that, to me, that means Daniel Jones is going to risk his health and run like crazy if he can.
He's playing for another contract. And honestly, this worked for him last time around. Why do you think he's even playing on the deal he has? It's because he was coming off his best season as a pro, and the team decided to pay him.
Woo!
Lucky you. 855-212-4227. But you know what? With all the Daniel Jones slander, and there's plenty of it on this show, this is the type of quarterback I fear if I'm the Cowboys. Again,
they've destroyed Daniel Jones. I heard the numbers like, this is not the guy. Unless he's a completely new human being, this is not the quarterback they fear.
I get it, but it's just running QBs.
I know, but they've contained him. Set the edge, Mag.
Yeah, no, I get it. Dak Prescott 12-2 against the Giants in his career.
Yeah, and I saw some stats. Daniel Jones in particular has struggled against the Cowboys. Like, this is for some reason, the matchup is tough for him.
Maybe it's because he's not that good.
Well, you know what he's really... I will say one thing about Daniel Jones. I think his major flaw is throwing the football.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Well, he's got Malik Neighbors now. So that
he has to be within 9 yards of Malik Neighbors. He makes a catch. Like, even the Malik Neighbors catches showed how inaccurate Daniel Jones is, which is weird because he has not developed.
Well, what's funny is that Malik Neighbors, choosing to, kind of throw away the one pass attempt that he had, shows that he's actually a smarter quarterback than Daniel Jones. That's tough.
Ate the ball.
You got to make the right play.
Daniel Jones do that for 5 years,
Can't do it. 855-212-4227.
This is going to be a fun day.
Manny, happy he's in today. Are you in tomorrow, too?
Oh, you darn tootin' I am.
Well, if the G-Men win.
Now you're going to be
I'll be
victory
insufferable
laps.
if they win tonight.
You notice there are a lot of dorks who wear Giants gear around this building. You do not wear a ton of Giants gear.
Yeah, because they haven't given me a reason to smile in about a decade. So, yeah. Plus, NFL gear, pretty expensive. I digress.
They've got to earn your Giants stuff. And also, the Giants don't have fun merch.
No, it's not a great look.
Well, it's just there's nothing outside the box. It's like it's either a Mark Bavaro jersey or you're screwed.
Yeah, the throwback stuff is our best stuff. I mean, hey, the 1930s jersey, the red and the Montreal Canadiens and
The red and blue Michigan Wolverines
Yeah.
jersey.
Beautiful.
Only
Beautiful.
works on black and white TV. 855-212-4227 is when they first debuted, and everyone's probably like, "Oh, these are great," because it was not color television at the time. That was an eyesore. But you got no Zubaz. You got nothing fun about your merch.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 855-212-4227. Too buttoned up over there with the Giants. Okay, lots more to do, including Caitlin Clark's season comes to an end last night, but not without some controversy, of course. And also the situation at UNLV. If you've been following this, Perloff and I don't generally talk a lot of UNLV football, but there's a major scandal happening right now because the quarterback has decided to call it quits over money. That's a bit unusual for college football, so we'll dive into all the details of the he said next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Manny and EJ, they're diehard Knicks fans, living in the Big Apple. They're part of the grand plan, but they just witnessed the crushing defeat. 76ers taking the victory, man. That's hard to beat. Sitting in the studio talking about the game, Maggie and Perloff, it ain't all the same. Perloff's a Philly fan. It's hard to stand when your team's on top and your heart's in your hand. Man, Manny and EJ, they're lost and confused. Knicks played hard, but it wasn't what they used to. Every missed shot, every turn, oh, they saw leaving them shocked. They can't believe what they're in for. Manny and EJ, they're diehard.
Peter Berardi, he made a prediction, said that he gonna win. Celtics got no conviction, but now he's hiding, running away, won't own up to his words, can't face the dismay. He thought Miami would rise like the sun in the sky, but now he's got excuses, got no alibi. He thought the Heat had it, it was a sure bet, but they couldn't handle Boston, not just yet. Peter Bellotti, where you at now? You made a bold choice, but where's your wow? Can't stand the heat in the kitchen, your predictions cold. You're playing hide and seek, leaving us in the fold. You're playing hide and seek, leaving us in the fold. Peter Berardi.
2 minutes remaining.
Woke up, felt a change in the air. Maggie woke up, felt a change in the air. Reached for his razor, didn't have a care. He shaved it off, that iconic mustache. Now he's just a face, lost in the mass. Oh man, where did you go? Without your mustache, we just don't know. Bring back the charm, the style, the flair. Growing
gleaming. Who brought stripes and bright
All right,
stars?
you're way off.
to
Forget
the
it.
perilous fight. I'm off.
You're gone already.
Glass gleaming. Who brought stripes and bright
All right,
stars?
you're way off. Forget it.
to the perilous fight. I'm off.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. Maggie is worried about the Dallas Cowboys. I can't understand why.
I'm not worried that they're going to lose tonight. I think they're going to win, but I don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I totally disagree. I think if they win big tonight, everyone's going to be like, things are good in Dallas, and then we will set up a whole new cycle of disappointment. That's how it works for the Cowboys. Nobody has an attention span to look ahead 10 days to their next game. Every game they play is like a mini Super Bowl. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that's how it is perceived in the Big D. Just watch. Jerry's going to act like the universe is exactly where it's supposed to be if they beat the Giants, which of course you're logically right. That doesn't mean anything.
Right.
But they're not going to act like that. And you know that's true, Maggie.
Well, I picked the Cowboys to miss the playoffs this year. So I think it does matter. They can get to 2-2,
Yeah.
and they probably should. They definitely should tonight. They're favored on the road
Right.
against the Giants. But, I mean, after that, play Pittsburgh. Let's see what it looks like after. They needed basically Dan Campbell to implode last year to win that game against the Lions in Dallas.
Well, I think if
San Francisco has their number.
the only thing to fear if they lose tonight, it is a Cowboys apocalypse. If they win tonight, it's going to feel like everything's fine.
Okay.
That's not true. But this is the Jerry sort of the basic error that he makes, just getting up on the mic every day and saying things. I think they're going to act like this is you should stay with this because I think they're going to act like this was a big win when you're saying it doesn't mean anything. Your logic is spot on. I agree with you. It's just not how it works in the Cowboys world.
855-212-4227. Where's your sort of panic, Cowboys fans heading into tonight? Worried at all?
I also like the
Worried a
question:
little?
if they win big tonight, are you convinced that everything is okay?
Yeah, they're going to say, oh, look what we did in the fourth quarter against the Ravens. And now this game,
Yes.
like that didn't mean anything. And this is going to mean less than that.
Why?
855-212-4227. You heard Manny playing back from break, the Elvis Vegas years, which I appreciate. UNLV has become the center of the college football world right now. This story is fascinating, not because of the implications on UNLV football, Perloff, but because of the potential slippery slope or copycats or whatever you could see doing something similar. And that is the quarterback, Matthew Sluka, who Bogish is doing victory laps because he actually knew who this person was before 48 hours ago.
I don't have much, Maggie, but I'll take this.
Congratulations. You knew the Holy Cross quarterback. But anyway, he's become front page news because with 3 games into the season and UNLV ranked and 3-0 for the first time in 40 years, now the quarterback is telling everyone, I'm sorry, I'm not going to play because I was promised $100,000 and the team's collective, the NIL, the boosters, the people who are in charge of giving out the money are no longer giving it to him. Well, if you go to the UNLV side, they're saying, we never agreed to that. We got nothing in writing. An assistant coach may or may not have told you $100,000 was the number. The head coach never said anything, and the head of the collective never said anything. So it comes down, and UNLV is saying this representation for the quarterback came and tried to basically shake us down for more money, and that is against the rules of NIL and especially in Nevada.
Well, I mean, okay, all that sounds true, but they're only paying the starting quarterback of a team that has a great chance of making the college football 12 playoff. Like he's not even getting $100,000. He should be worth $800,000. Like, the bottom line is he's wildly underpaid. Like, his people should find a way to get him out of there. Like, he's making $15,000. Like, high school quarterbacks are making 25 times that much. Why is he not making more money?
Well, I think it's
because only I knew him.
Because he's not that good. But to be fair, he was good enough to win the starting job. And he is not this great passer, but he is able to run. He's obviously played 4 years of college football at Holy Cross, so he's got experience. And he's seeing something bigger. I think the big question comes down to, not specifically this situation, although this one is interesting. He only got paid a $3,000 stipend to move from Worcester, Massachusetts to UNLV. They said they were trying to work out a $3,000 a month payment for him. Now, that's not $100,000. $3,000 a month essentially for the next 4 months is not $100,000. They're very far apart on the money here. And it's a little bit about UNLV, but it's more about could this happen in a bigger school at a bigger moment? Say you are a Power 5 and you're off to an unprecedented start and you're 3-0 and all of a sudden your quarterback's saying, I want more.
You find that money and you give him that money.
Well, I mean, that's not the spirit of what the name, image, and likeness is. It's you agree to a price and then...
But you act like the spirit of the name, image, and likeness isn't just some hokey scam that the college football administrators came up with. Like, these players should be getting paid a lot more. Barry Odom, the coach of UNLV, if they make the Final 12, he's going to leave there and get $8 million a year. So we're arguing about this quarterback getting $3,000 a year. He should get the heck out of Dodge.
No,
Give him some money.
Listen, I'm not saying that he is totally in the wrong here. Like the whole quit on your team thing.
I understand that.
Listen, quit on your team. He just got there and he was definitely just there to play football, and then he was and whatever. It's not like he's been with the program for a long time, but I get the criticism. I think that it's more about both sides here. I think look bad, and it's like there's no protection for the player either because he agreed to maybe a verbal commitment that an assistant coach gave him this pie in the sky number, and he was sold maybe a bill of goods, and as far as a system that helps protect the players more, an assistant coach is the one who's out there recruiting. If they say $100,000, that should be like somewhere in the neighborhood of what he's actually going to get.
Well, by the way, I don't think the assistant coach or the head coach can ever say a number. I think that is one of the handful rules. They're not allowed to talk about this.
When they get asked, what can you get me? All they say is, we have an outstanding collective.
Right.
And
then
direct you to the collective.
The marketing rep talks to the collective.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you're right. That's true. Like coaches are not allowed to give a number at all.
So that should also be part of this. Like, because I bet, we talk about the gray area. I bet there are coaches who are out there saying, hey, listen, you come here, you win the job, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I can get you 100,000. We'll get you 100,000.
So all that being said, like, this is never going to happen at a Power 5 conference over so little money. Like I don't understand why UNLV didn't just pay the dude and sweep it under the rug. Not to be unidealistic, but it feels like they're fighting back a little too much.
So according to them, they're saying we never agreed to this. The head of their collective is saying, I would have known if someone promised $100,000. I never heard about this. No one ever came to me about this.
Right. But I'm saying, like, why doesn't a collective just find that money? That's not a lot for a collective.
You're right about it. According to UNLV and their statement, I think they are saying that the representative made demands and UNLV Athletics interpreted these demands as a violation of the NCAA pay-for-play rules, as well as Nevada state law. So the reason why they're not finding a bag of money is I think they're very worried about getting in trouble for a guy who's, quite frankly, no disrespect to this kid, not worth it.
But the NIL guy, like, why doesn't he just... they can redo the NIL deal mid-season, right? Like, there's no rules on that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you could always just say, like...
Yeah, just give them a new
here's
ad
your
for
car
a car
dealership.
dealership.
Exactly.
Like, here's another charity event to show up to or what have you.
Does anyone know why the collective isn't finding the extra $89,000?
Again, I think they're worried that it's going to be a violation. They also said that the guy who's representing this quarterback is not registered as an agent in Nevada. So I think there's a lot of things here. I'm not saying Nevada's totally in the right. I'm not. But I get where... you're a program, especially in that state, in that city, where you have to be 100% buttoned up on what you do. You're worried that someone will make an example of you. I don't know.
I mean, who's going to suspend you? Like, what is the NCAA still exists in any meaningful way? I don't know. This whole thing seems ridiculous. I feel like UNLV is being way too stubborn, and they kind of deserve this, in my opinion, because again, that coach is going to leave for an $8 million contract.
Totally.
He does not give a rat's butt about any of those players when it comes to his next deal. Like, why should the players care about UNLV?
Oh, I totally understand, but you're asking why isn't UNLV just coming up with the money?
Yeah,
they're saying that they
so
can't,
little.
Right? They're saying that it would be a violation of the law.
But we know factually that there's zero reason the collective can't give them money. You could tell me all day, like, they're just a collective. Like, that's what they do. They pay the players.
Before we knew about it, and they had a need to cover their trail. Like, they could, like, the first time that this conversation came up, it should have taken 2 phone calls to figure this out.
This is because the juice is not worth the squeeze on this quarterback, clearly. Because, yes, if they thought they're 3-0 because this quarterback, then I think you're probably right. They probably are finding the money. They don't want to be, in their view, that they're like, we're not going to get shaken down by this guy.
But doesn't it give them a bad look, though, to go through this now? Because if you're a recruit or you're any player thinking about going to UNLV, now you're probably saying, hey, like, they just had another guy leave yesterday. Like, you may say, hey, this is not a team that's going to live up to their payment. So I almost feel like you'd be better served to just do whatever it takes to get this kid happy so that this doesn't become a national story than, like, say, well, he's not that great, so if he leaves, so be it, and try to squeeze him.
Again, they're saying this violates NCAA pay-for-play rules and Nevada state law. UNLV does not engage in such activity, nor does it respond to implied threats. UNLV has honored all previously agreed-upon scholarships for Matthew Sluka. So that's what they're saying.
Collective is a non-school affiliated group. They have nothing to do with the school. So where is it? This is the worst collective in the entire country. I mean, whoever runs this, they should be fired tomorrow. Like, this is nuts.
Yeah, the guy who does run it came out and said, I'd never heard of this. No one ever, everything goes through me. And if it was $100,000, I think I would know that. But meanwhile, you do have very wealthy alums, as you do in every school. And the Fertittas are apparently the big money backers there who own the Station Casino.
But wait, let me ask. So if
Rockets,
there's a collective, right?
It's like the same family, but different parts.
There is a collective, right?
Yeah.
So they're paying $3,000 a month to the quarterback. Like, where is that money going if the starting quarterback, how big is their collective? I mean, they must have at least like $5 million or something. So where's it going? To the right guard on UNLV? Like, they just thought like, we're paying players, but the starting quarterback's not getting paid? I don't even understand how this is possible.
It's fascinating. And again, it's fascinating a bit about UNLV. That's kind of interesting. But could this happen at a bigger school with a bigger quarterback where, and you're right, you'll find the money when it's $100,000. What if they're saying like, I need $10 million? Well,
I mean, the game now, and we're going to talk to Armen Keteyian later about his book on NIL. I mean, the game now is verbal commitment means, hey, this is my price. Do you want to top it? So Dylan Raiola's on his fourth school in Nebraska. Jaden Rashada is suing. Like, the game is at a much higher level than UNLV. We're talking millions with these guys. So it's already crazy. It's already total insanity.
Yeah, it's nuts. So this is a story we're watching. Perloff just mentioned the multiple-time Emmy Award winner, investigative reporter, one of the New York Times bestselling author, Armen Keteyian, will join us later. Literally just wrote an entire book about NIL. So we had him booked like a week ago. This is a pretty good day to have him on. Andrew Bogish has all the latest headlines for us. What happened with Caitlin last night?
All the headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your home and auto. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Yes, Caitlin Clark's rookie season is over. 25 points, 9 assists, but the Fever swept in 2 games by the Sun, 87-81. This game featuring more debatable refereeing and also some more serious issues with the WNBA and these particular teams, with fans saying and doing horrible things, in particular to, in their eyes, defend Caitlin Clark. More on that as the morning progresses. Back on the court, the Lynx knocked out the Mercury 101-88 in their game 2. Diana Taurasi scoring 10 points before fouling out in what could be her final game. From the NBA, Derrick Rose just announced that he is retiring. A tremendous beginning to his career, but all the knee issues, never able to really fully live out what could have been a fantastic NBA career for Derrick Rose. Guess who won again last night in baseball?
Runner at second, 1 out, 3-3 in the 10th. The 2-0 to Benintendi. There's a base hit. Left center. Here comes Vargas around third, and the White Sox win.
Oh, feel that excitement on White Sox radio. Chicago still on 120 losses, still tied with the 62 Mets for the most since 1900. Andrew Benintendi's RBI single giving them a 4-3 win in 10 over the Angels. Interim manager Grady Sizemore.
You guys played good today. Fought hard. That was kind of back and forth. Kept adding on. We got some great help from the bullpen and some big hits when we needed it.
These two play one more time this afternoon. The Yankees are 0-2, clinching the AL East, losing to the Orioles last night 9-7, but Aaron Judge did go deep for a 4th straight game. The Tigers stayed hot, 7-1 over the Rays, so they maintain a 2-game lead on the Twins for the last wild card spot. Minnesota beat Miami 8-3. The Marlins have their 4th 100-loss season. UNLV, another mention of them. They and Air Force reportedly staying in the Mountain West after flirting with the Pac-12 and AAC. The two schools expected to get big checks for their loyalty, maybe as much as $25 million apiece.
Well, none of it's going to the quarterback. They know that.
No, not this one.
Yeah.
The NFL yesterday upheld the one-game suspension of Chargers safety Derwin James for multiple illegal hits. Head coach Jim Harbaugh disagrees.
Look at all of his 20-some tackles on the season, and he is going out of his way. Literally going out of his way. Sometimes giving up yards so that he can, not injure another player or hit him with the head. So yeah, I'm disappointed.
Well, I mean, we all know what's going on here, right?
What?
I mean, who does Derwin James have to cover against the Chiefs on Sunday?
Mr. Kelce.
Big Travis. So, and they're not happy with the product so far. So there's no way Goodell is letting Derwin James on that field. It's the Taylor.
Yes.
It's totally the Taylor effect here. Jim Harbaugh is like, he's new to the NFL. He'll figure out how it works.
Got to get Derwin James off the field so Kelce can have a big game to get Taylor back in the fold.
Yes.
Okay. Just on.
Yeah, Taylor's not going to show up. She's not going to show up for 3 catches for 37 yards. So you got to get Derwin
it's not her
off
brand.
the field.
Yeah.
Derwin James, I assume, is great at covering the tight end, and this is perfect.
Are you catching some of Maggie's
conspiracy? Yes.
Yeah.
No, she's rubbing off of me. It's not good.
It's just called the truth. No, this one is a little bit far out even for me. In some ways, I don't feel bad for Derwin James because I think he has had some dirty hits in his career, but it's like he has the dirty hits, so he's getting suspended, and then his coach is like, man, he's even giving up yards. Like now he's getting criticized by his head coach. What is he supposed to do?
Right. He described it like he played for the Raiders, not making tackles, like checking out on it. He's not even tackling guys.
Yeah. It's like he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. What is he supposed to do?
It's one less game that he'll be hurt, though, because we know the deal with Derwin.
Wow.
Yeah,
but we did this summer, man. Or me and you.
You and I.
We mentioned he's played the last 2 years. He's played basically the full thing.
Oh, has he really? I thought that dude always got hurt.
Us too. But
he didn't get hurt last year at all?
He played. He might not have been 100% healthy, but he was on the field for, I think, 16 of 17 games last year. Huh. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, 16 games last year, 14 the game before, 15 the game before, 15 the year before.
I think about this with Taylor Swift. We joke, would she not show up for Kelce to catch 3 passes for, 30 yards or whatever? Like, that's a waste of her time. But if the roles were reversed and somehow Taylor was not like the hot thing anymore, do you think Kelce would keep showing up if it was half sold out stadiums? If she's playing nightclubs somewhere.
Sorry,
there's no world. You can't even follow me in this hypothetical.
Taylor Swift is not playing
the Mercury Lounge.
Jones Beach. Yeah. She's not.
That's a little local flair for you.
Yeah, maybe in the year 2074. There's no way. I mean, and even then, I mean, there's no falling off there.
All right, just checking.
I still think there's trouble in paradise because of the sad photo. I know Travis addressed it in the podcast. He said it was just a moment in time, but I think there's something going on.
And that's also a song Taylor will be covering.
I think there's something going on there. Well, I just have a sense.
Again,
how dare you?
This is the weekend. This is the alleged PR
breakup
rollout coming this weekend. So if we get to Monday and they're together, you got to believe.
Maybe it's a choice with Travis because some of his bros are coming out, I think, and saying, who hinted that he was out of shape? Or somebody,
Todd McShay.
Didn't
hit.
He didn't hit.
There was a player too who said. Anyway, I think the bros are calling him and be like, dude, you got to focus on football. Put Taylor to the side. I think he's getting some pressure from his guy friends. Happens to the best of us. Remember when you're dating?
I never see you anymore.
I never see. It's basically an I never see you anymore. Yeah. Exactly. Like, it's Friday night and he's at home watching a movie with Taylor and the guys are like, hey, guy, this is our night.
Yeah,
got to go out and eat wings and drink beer. Where are you?
Why do you spend all your time with Jessica?
Yeah.
I always feel like
Jessica. If that's even her name. Never even met her. Don't want to meet her.
Meanwhile, it's a State Farm guy. Like that commercial. Well, she's a guy, so.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good luck. I don't think any guys winning the battle over Taylor.
It's corny to tell your friend, don't stop dating this girl, by the way.
You can't do that as a guy. That's against the code, right?
It's 100% against the code. And I've been in groups where there's been issues with that. And I always look at the friend that's doing that being like, what the F, dude? Like, just ride it out. Whatever happens, happens. Be kind and just let it go.
Well, this is the tough part, right? It's always tough in a relationship if you're the friend of someone who's in a relationship. And if they're like, if you don't like the person, you got to really, it's a tough fine line because you can't be like, oh, I never liked that guy anyway. And then they get married. And then what happens?
I know.
I've seen that. I've been in that, and
Exactly.
it's awkward.
You guys know the much deeper conspiracy theory that is now floating out there.
It's not about the election, is it?
Oh, it is. That
Great.
Kelsey's really open and Mahomes isn't throwing it to him because Mahomes' wife doesn't like Taylor's politics. Because apparently the All-22 shows a wide open Travis Kelce on many plays.
I thought Mahomes is stayed out of it, though. He's not telling anybody
I'm
what
sure
his
he has, but
political
it does seem
leanings are.
like Kelce seems open and he's not hitting him. That's what people are saying out there.
That's what people are saying.
I hate the internet.
That's the questions that are being asked.
Well, actually, I did hear that I did extrapolate a little bit. I did hear that Kelce is getting open on tape a lot. Like, that's a thing out
so
there.
you had it on the rest.
Yeah, I had it. That's started right in the mind of Andrew Perloff.
It's like tacking on 15 yards for a face mask. You did a lot
I also
there.
invented the Derwin James thing. If you want to go into the conspiracy game, I got skills. Like, I can invent these conspiracies. But that one is good.
You wonder who's behind all this stuff. It's writers like Perloff. This is who's doing this. This is the script writers right here.
People are saying, like me.
People
in my
like
head.
Me, I'm me.
The
I'm
voices
people.
are telling me.
I think also Mahomes is getting older. I'm not sure he knows which guy is Noah Gray and which guy is Kelce. He's hitting Gray a lot. He's like
getting older.
He's like,
I know, he's almost 30.
I don't think his vision is what it is because he keeps hitting Noah Gray between the numbers and thinking he just threw the ball to Kelce. I have a lot of theories on what's going on. By the way, they're 3-0 and everyone's acting like, what's wrong with the Chiefs?
I know they're not exactly spiraling here.
But something looks off. That being said, their offense is not good. Mahomes is throwing it to the other team a lot. It's weird.
A lot.
I mean,
You make it sound like he's Will Levis.
He has an 89.9 passer rating. That is well below his career average. Like, I don't know. He definitely doesn't look like the same quarterback.
855-212-4227. Not going to dignify that with a response.
You don't think that Patrick Mahomes is slumping? I think everybody, you can definitely admit that. That's not a conspiracy theory.
I'm not going to say he's slumping.
Really? I thought we all agreed that Kansas City's offense is not what it used to be.
Well, he said he's slumping, so I'll give him that.
Yeah.
The rest, I'm not so sure of. The eyesight and the political statements.
That he thinks he's...
They get in the huddle. He's like, anyone here voting for RFK? Anyone?
Wow.
Any Jill Stein people in here?
Yeah, any Jill Stein, you can take a walk. All right?
15-yard penalty, 10 minutes in the huddle. Mahomes like, I'll take it.
855-212-4227. No third-party candidates in this huddle. All right, lots to do. We see you guys on the phones. You want to talk about what's going on at UNLV. We will get more into Caitlin and the controversy surrounding last night's game. Her season ends, her rookie season in the books. So much to do. Maggie and Perloff.
On the court, his knees in pain, but he's still hustling, bringing the game. Peter Schwartz, slow and bumbling by, with a hip replacement from an old Studebaker ride. Oh, EJ with his injured knee, still crushing Schwartz so easily. Pickleball champ, he's on a spree while Bulletti's home as usual absentee. Schwartz is swinging, but he's out of tune. Studebaker hip creaks like an old cartoon. EJ's finesse got him looking stuck. Bulletti's still missing, so what the duck? Oh, EJ with his injured knee, still crushing Schwartz so easily. Pickleball champ, he's on a spree while Bulletti's home as usual absentee. Needs an oil change, but EJ's quick moves are out of range. Bulletti's nowhere, like a ghost in the air, skipping work again, he doesn't care. After the match, Schwartz hobbles around, off to the doctor for another round. Haggling hard for that 1913. Belotti's gone, what else is new? EJ wins again, Belotti missed it too.
EJ's on the court, his knees in pain, but he's still hustling, bringing the game. Peter Schwartz, slow and bumbling by, with a hip replacement from an old Studebaker ride. Oh, EJ, with his injured knee, still crushing Schwartz so easily. Pickleball champ, he's on a spree, while Belotti's home as usual absentee. Schwartz is swinging, but he's out of tune. That Studebaker hip creaks like an old cartoon. EJ's finesse got him looking stuck. Belotti's still missing, so what the duck? Oh, EJ, with his injured knee, still crushing Schwartz so easily. Pickleball champ, he's on a spree, while Belotti's home as usual absentee. Schwartz's hips grinding, needs an oil change, but EJ's quick moves are out of range. Belotti's nowhere, like a ghost in the air, skipping work again, he doesn't care. After the match,
I am my LA.
45 seconds remaining.
I am my LA.
Yesterday they were winning 5-0 and 6-4 and they lost, so Haktua girl can beat it.
I didn't know. It took. Do we think it's all right? Now Perloff, here you go.
Set to the missus. Jack Gelb.
15 seconds.
Honestly, I'm in worse shape than the actual poster spot. I did not crumble.
Not going down.
Yeah, he
Break
he took a
ends
hit, he
in
scrambled out of
5
the pot.
seconds.
He's still in short of one piece, kind of half of one piece.
Welcome back, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Okay, we got a lot on the table. We see you guys want to weigh in on some of these topics, so let's get to it. First, it's a quarterback situation at UNLV where the quarterback is no longer going to play for the 3-0 Rebels, Pearl, because he's saying the collective, the NIL collective, didn't come through on a $100,000 verbal promise from an assistant coach. The team in the school is saying it don't work like that. You can't come to us and make it look like you're shaking us down for money. We never agreed to anything, and that would be against Nevada state law. So it's a real he said. Evan is in Florida, wants to weigh in. Good morning, Evan.
Hey, good morning, Maggie. What's up, Andrew? How you guys doing?
Great.
So, first-time caller, long-time listener down here on the east coast of Florida. Luckily, we're missing most of the hurricane.
Yeah.
So my point with the UNLV guy, so it may not be the case with him, but can you see a world going forward with NIL where quarterbacks go to a smaller, lesser school, play for 3 games, audition, don't lose the year of eligibility, jump out and go to an Alabama, maybe a Florida State. That's my alma mater, probably not there.
They'll be back. Evan, it's a great point. I mean, do you go and play at, and thank you for making the call. We had not thought about that. Yes, do you audition, you have a signature win or something like that, and if you have not played it's 4 games is the cutoff for where you can then just say, I'm going to redshirt the rest of the year.
Well, if you don't want this, then make the player sign a contract and guarantee him money. I mean, what is college football want? They want their system. They want everything to work out for them. What does the player get?
No, they should be getting everything they're promised. And here's the
But
thing,
not even what they're promised. They should be getting paid.
Well, definitely, and we're moving towards that, right? And still, though, if you say it's going to be between $20 and $23 million is going to be the quote unquote salary cap for an athletic department, we could say that's not fair because that's not enough money because that's not going to be a big enough slice of the pie. It's going to be a long time, I think, Pearl, till we get to something that seems like it's totally fair on all sides.
Well, if they had pay for play, then these quarterbacks at these small schools would get, say, $200,000 to play for the season. And that's a contract, and they wouldn't walk out on that. But this sort of loosey-goosey NIL is not a pay for play. It's not a contract. There's no – that kid had every incentive to walk away.
Definitely.
So I know he's getting killed for abandoning his team. That sucks. But still, like, he needs to get paid more money. The collective should have done all this behind the scenes. I'm so psyched to talk to Armen Keteyian, who wrote a book on NIL. Like, why didn't they just pay him?
Well, I think the other part of this too is it looks bad on the quarterback because it looks like the people, his agent, and the people who are on his behalf didn't get anything in writing, and they're saying, "Oh, we couldn't get anything, and we couldn't agree to anything until he was enrolled in the school." That's just not true. So I think everyone had some bad information. Guy is in Portland, wants to talk about Travis Kelce as we swing wildly from one topic to another, and why Kelce looks so down and out on the sidelines. Guy, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Maggie and Pearl. So glad you took my call. I love your show. And I wanted to say this. I've been a musician all my life, right? And my theory is that Travis right now is woman hurt because as a musician, a lot of times you have to, if you're a spouse or a girlfriend, boyfriend of a musician, you know that you have to share. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but that's how musicians are.
Yep.
And I'm going to say Post Malone is the thorn in Travis's side. That's just my theory, but he's always hanging out in the background at the VMAs. She hugged him first. He's in that video. They look pretty cozy. I'm not saying that's going on, but I just think her world is a little too much for Travis Kelce being just a down-home football guy. I could be wrong, but he looks sad on the sideline, and something does seem to be wrong.
Hey, Guy, can I ask you a question as a musician? Sorry to cut you off, but can I ask you a question as a musician? Problem. I once had a friend who was dating a guitarist, okay? And she said one of the things that bothered her a little bit and why it never ultimately worked out between the two of them is because she said, he will never love me as much as he loves playing guitar.
That's true. That's true because I'm 60 years old and I'm still playing music with my friends. I'm in a band and you just can never stop. It's kind of like once you get on stage, it's an addiction and you have to have it until you die practically. So I believe that. It's true.
Yeah, Guy, thank you so much for weighing in. Do you feel Post Malone is a threat to Kelce?
I last night said to my wife, this video of Taylor sharing a drink with Post Malone makes me nervous. I swear to God, I was talking about it, Taylor and Post Malone. I think a lot of people are. Did you see? So it was at the VMAs, and she just casually takes a drink out of his hand and takes a sip like she's been doing it for months. Something's wrong.
Uh-oh.
Post Malone's a charming guy, too. It's nerve-wracking. I mean, it's... listen, I know Post Malone's got other things to worry about because Cowboys play tonight, but... I'm right with Guy. I'm right there.
A massive downgrade. She goes from Travis Kelce to Post Malone.
I mean, which version of Post Malone are you getting?
All of Ozempic, the Ozempic Post Malone or pre? I think either one is rough. Really, Taylor? I can't buy that.
It's called vitamin O.
She's got terrible taste in men. Before I
mean, that is true.
Don't we all?
God, we have linked some crazy stuff to Taylor Swift today.
855-212-4227. So much to do. Caitlin Clark's season comes to an end last night, but not without controversy.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Bibolotti's got something. Bibolotti's got something to say. Infinity's mice. He's feeling the dismay. No NBA on NBC. What a shame. Just JJ Redick's wine ain't the same. Peter Bellotti is getting upset. Maggie, Perloff, can you hear his plea? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Set his spirit free. He misses Kostos and the crew. Those were the days. Pete cries out, boo, boo. Bring it back, oh can't you see? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Let it be. Pete's mad, he's feeling sad. Bring it back, oh make it right.
30
Bibolati's got something to say.
Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Caitlin Clark's rookie season in the books after getting swept last night in the playoffs by the Connecticut Sun. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We've got so much football for you. We've got Cowboys and Giants tonight. We got Georgia, Alabama this weekend. All of that, Pearl. But, you know, we talked so much about Caitlin Clark's season and the impact that she had on women's basketball and on women's sports and just everything. You know, I think by every metric, she certainly lived up to the hype. It was a little rough at the beginning, but she found her footing. The team found their footing. And how could you say anything except for the season was a massive success, right?
Yeah, it's so funny. I heard this line the other day that she could have stayed at Iowa. I think she had one more year of eligibility. She would have made $20 million in Iowa last year. Now, I don't think her marketing was as high in the WNBA, but I think she made the right call to not stay in the protection of college basketball because I think she's going to make the WNBA not quite, maybe not as popular as the college game, but it's headed in that direction. Because right now, women's college basketball, we forget that is red hot.
It is.
So I think WNBA is headed that way when Caitlin becomes more competitive, like when the Fever get to the finals, that is just going to be huge.
And the thing is, it feels like that's attainable and achievable, like in the near future, because they got swept in the first round of this playoff. But again, this is a really young team, and they really were able to figure out their way. And I thought Caitlin handled herself, really well this year. She adapted to the physicality of the game. She used the Olympic break to sort of recharge and reset. Even last night, if you were watching that game, it was a close game. Fever made a run in the third quarter. She's just out of gas, and somehow was able to regroup and still put together a good fourth quarter. And they eventually lose to just a much better, much more experienced team.
Yeah, the one thing about Caitlin Clark is she gets a crazy green light there. So my question is does that style change? Like, are they going to try and run this? Are they going to be the Warriors of the WNBA? I'm very curious. And can that work? Yep. And do they have the talent to do that? Because, listen, what was her shooting percentage this year? It was not ideal.
It was around 41% for most of the year.
Right. Okay. That's not 41% overall.
Overall, yeah. It's
now, for the WNBA, that's like in the NBA, that'd be a big problem. But
yes,
that's okay.
That would not be great.
So that's got all up. But I like their style. Like, it's really fun to watch. Like, they're just like, Caitlin, if you could see the basket from 40 feet away, put it up there.
She's still got that deep three-pointer where she's falling off to the left and somehow shooting it with the right and kind of not across her body, but sort of. And she still has the ability to be lethal from long range. And again, this was the rookie season. And I think, Charles Barkley had a criticism a couple weeks ago on Bill Simmons' podcast where he said that the WNBA screwed this up so much because women were petty and jealous of her attention and all that. I just totally disagree. I think when we look back, first of all, let's see what happens with the rest of the playoffs and finals and see if people are tuning in. I just think that we paid attention to the WNBA for the casual fans, not for the people who've been diehard, but a lot of us got pulled in and we stuck around. Now,
well, I think one thing, and this is not in the spirit of what Charles said, like the controversy sold for sure. Like, I do think this rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark was a big part of the ratings explosion. You need a counter, and the fact that Angel Reese was awesome kind of helped this whole thing, right?
Sure.
I think her ratings were big too. It's not just Caitlin.
Yeah, before her season-ending hand injury. So the tough part about this, and I can't say that I'm 100% shocked because my my experience with this is, it's about abundant. But after the game, you did have players from the Connecticut Sun who were calling out some abuse and some racial epithets and also, just all the bad slurs that you can. Fans of Caitlin, they said specifically, fans in general, but maybe fans of Caitlin who were being abusive online and in some ways threatening, which is obviously not okay. None of this is okay. But it was specifically like the fans of Caitlin is what they're saying, are sort of saying these horrible things on Caitlin's behalf. Now, here's the thing. There's obviously no place for any of this. None of us want to see this kind of abuse online, and especially when it becomes threats that feel more pointed and all of that, then the law has to get involved and legal action has to be taken. I'm just wondering, Perloff, beyond condemning it from the WNBA, condemning it from the Fever, and Caitlin herself condemning it, I don't know what else can be done. European soccer deals with this. The NBA deals with this. NFL, like just famous people in general. I don't know what more can be done here. Like, what more can you do to stop trolls online from saying awful things? I don't know what more Caitlin should and could do. She can come out more forcefully and say, please don't do this on my behalf. I just don't know if that's going to get through to somebody who wants to write something abhorrent online.
Let me ask you a really tricky question.
Yeah.
Can the players who are receiving these threats just get offline? They need it for marketing, though, right?
When it's threats, then you have to pay attention, because if someone's saying, I'm going to come and do something bad to you, you want to make sure you're understanding what that is, and you got to like keep your head about you.
But shouldn't it mean like can't they all erase their Instagram accounts and?
Probably
but they
not.
probably need it for marketing because the salaries aren't that big, right?
I think you definitely want it and need it for marketing, and also, I mean, I guess it would just be don't check your mentions, but it's like, then are we actually addressing the problem?
Yeah,
Well,
that puts too much of the onus on the people who are being targeted, not the problem. Saying, "Oh, you now have to change your life,
right,
because of some other person's success."
It's just going to be hard, I think, and I think any person who's in the public eye understands this. It's going to be hard. It's like you're fighting a real uphill battle. I think it's more about the tech companies and what they're allowing to be on their platforms. Like, we don't talk about that at all. Like, well, we do in society. We don't really talk about it when it comes to athletes. Like, we talk about it with like misinformation on politics and stuff like that. What's the responsibility of Facebook and Instagram, owned by the same company, and then Twitter and stuff like that? What is the responsibility there? And nobody's calling that out when it comes to athletes.
Well, yeah. I mean, do you want to be the one who's monitoring speech and saying what's allowed and what's not allowed? Because yes, the threats, there's no doubt, like law enforcement should be contacted. But then the gray areas, like, are you going to, that's hard. And also, why wouldn't people just move to other platforms?
And just, you're going to do whack-a-mole.
It's like a whack-a-mole, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a whole different issue. Like, your question is, what can they do? That is it's an impossible one. I mean, do you have any solution? And
I wish
obviously
I did.
Speak out against it, number one. But
condemn it, no doubt about that, right? And last night, Caitlin had a fan. I don't know if the guy got removed, but she definitely pointed him out. The referees tell security. Security comes over, and this person was obviously saying something terrible to her face in the moment. That person has to get removed, right? You got to have decorum. Buying a ticket doesn't mean you have the right to say whatever you want, whenever you want. You can't cross the line. But I think this is a little bit of, I hate to say it, I'm not dismissing it, excusing it, or being a proponent of it at all. But when you grow as a league, it becomes harder to control the fan base. You know, because do you want to say, listen, you know, you're going to have more eyeballs on you, which is great and awesome, and the TV ratings are huge. But with that also comes the negative part of it, right? Which is you're just going to get a lot more crap and disgusting, awful stuff. And is it just part of the growing pains of the league? Because I'm sure if you asked any NBA player, I bet they get awful stuff. Horrible racial stuff. NFL, horrible. Soccer, horrible. Soccer, they'll chant stuff at you. They had to start putting a lot more restrictions on fans and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, does anyone have it? EJ, is there a solution here? I can't find one.
I don't really know if there is a solution. I will say I feel like the WNBA stuff, I mean, the soccer is a very good analogy because they do have a lot of issues, but the WNBA stuff compared to the other American pro sports is more visible. I mean, you can just pull up social media and see just wild stuff happening. Like, it's reaching my timelines. Some of the stuff that's happening. Some of it being amplified by people who want to show what's happening. But it's definitely more prevalent. It's definitely more of an issue than these other leagues are dealing with. It's really tough. I don't really know what you do. And I think that for a lot of these players and as a league, they're going to have a real, for lack of a better term, come to Jesus kind of moment just about, like, what do they want to be as a league? Because you had the commissioner a couple weeks ago who got roasted for kind of being like, well, that's kind of just how it goes. In one of her interviews, and they asked her about dealing with the racism that's been happening. And then a lot of her players came out very upset that she had to, put out a statement out at like 10 a.m., 10 p.m., be like, oh, I misspoke or whatever. Like, that's going to be the conversation I think as a WNBA PA and as a league, they're really going to have to address, because I don't see this going away. To me, this is, like I've said before, these are just the growing pains we've seen with other major sports. Like,
and also, I'm going to be honest, not to cut you off there, I'm sorry, but I think that I'm not surprised that it's more that there's more of it, or that it's feels more abusive or whatever directed towards women. Just ask any woman, And I'm not trying to play victim here. I'm just saying people really get in their feelings when they have feelings about women, and I can see or maybe when it's men, we kind of shrug it off a little bit more or whatever, but. No, I mean, I think that there's a lot wrapped up here. I think some men don't want to see women succeed. I think some women don't want to see women succeeding. There's just a lot more there. And I think there's going to have to be a way, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't keep calling it out. And if you are these stars and say, this is not okay, it's unacceptable, I totally understand that. Russell Westbrook does this. Other male athletes do this too. I just don't know if you're going to actually stop it. And I wonder, by giving it life, do you actually breathe life into it? And does it empower your trolls to say, oh, I'm getting to them. Oh, they're looking at what I'm saying. I'm being seen. I'm going to keep it going, and I'm going to double down.
Isn't that what the Sun coach said? Like, why are we letting them set the narrative? I saw that after the game. She said we shouldn't even be paying attention to these trolls, in so many words.
Sure.
So it's a fine line. How do you not breathe life into it? It becomes a cycle.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think some of it's going to have to be also when the novelty aspect of this wears off too. Like, I think as Caitlin becomes a better player, I think there's an aspect with this environment, with these trolls that are doing this, there's an aspect of they enjoy seeing this white girl shooting threes from 30 feet against these black women. And I think that once that we kind of get used to that and she becomes, a superstar in the WNBA, she's a household name, I think maybe that's when we kind of move away from that. It's just like when Larry Bird first came in the NBA and a lot of people rallied around the fact that Larry Bird was coming in, beating Magic Johnson and beating Dr. J. Right,
Great White Hope.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why I said earlier, like, these other leagues, they've dealt with this already.
Yep.
So we've kind of moved past that.
Not in the
era.
age of social media, though.
Not on social. No, and social media makes it worse. Like,
exactly.
Imagine if like Dr. J or Magic was playing against Larry Bird in the '80s, and there was social media. The Boston fans, are you kidding me? You know what that would have been? That would have been insane. Like, so I think that this amplifies the issue. I think once Caitlin really becomes like a household name, I think she's done a really good job of late of really trying to denounce a lot of this stuff. I think that's when this thing will subside. But right now, it's going to be rough.
Yeah. 855-212-4227. So we saw that last night, which is Caitlin's season comes to an end. We also are watching, and a totally different and unrelated topic, we were watching a sad Travis Kelce on the sideline. And Perloff's got some theories. He thinks Post Malone is maybe driving a wedge between Travis and Taylor.
You jabroni!
I mean, listen, I have eyes. I watch the VMAs. I know what's going on.
You watch the VMAs. Kevin is in Oregon, has a thought on athletes dating musicians or anyone dating musicians. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm a retired surgeon, and I've been a musician for 50 years. My ex-wife, she may have been third on the depth chart, but her NIL benefits were off the chart. So I think Travis Kelce being second string is really not that bad.
Kevin, great way to look at it and great way to put it. Appreciate that. There's always something when famous people are dating each other, right? Where Travis definitely comes across, and I think he might be like this, just sort of one of the guys, kind of easy to get along with, yet superstar. But for a lot of his life, it's probably been about him.
Yeah, no, I mean, less so Travis Kelce. He was kind of like an underdog, out of nowhere guy.
Right, but now he's had a lot of success. So it's
the last 7 years, right. But I think he came up in a humble environment.
That's fine, but I'm talking about what's the power dynamic in most of his relationships. I mean, probably he's
as a
the guy,
player, of
right?
course.
And so, the son, he's the son, and you revolve around him, his schedule, his moods, his everything, right? This is how a lot of professional athletes are because they need a support system or they want it this way.
Right.
So she's also a son, and everything revolves around Taylor too. And you can't have two sons unless you're in Phoenix.
Yeah, I know, but like Travis seems well designed. Didn't he? So he was dating like a model for a long time, and eventually the rumors of what happened, like
a model, but not like Giselle.
Right. But I mean, I think she was a big like social media person. I don't know. It doesn't feel like Travis is. He feels like the kind of guy who could do this. Like he's not. He seemed like an overly. I just listened to him on the podcast. He seems like somewhat of a humble guy.
Sure, that's fine. But again, I wonder if he's used to.
You're not buying it?
If you think Post Malone is coming in sniffing around.
My ass!
Well, maybe not that sniffing specifically, Manny, but well timed. Maybe he's not used to fighting for a woman in a relationship. That could be off-putting to him. He's probably like, wait a minute, I've never had to do this before. I'm the guy who is the magnet. I'm the one who people are attracted to.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I'm just saying, if somebody's going to cheat in this relationship, I was kidding about Post Malone. I would watch out for the football player. I'm just saying, those guys
Definitely.
are on the road a lot. Taylor's she's on stage every day. How does she have time for an affair?
I mean, Beyonce's been cheated on. I mean, come on. It's like, it doesn't matter how successful you are, how beautiful you are. It's just, I mean, it sucks. It's there. I know. I hope
life
it
on the
doesn't
road,
happen.
man. They're both living it.
Yeah.
Her more than him.
Definitely. Oh, definitely.
Football players, it's 8 away games. It's not like baseball where you're in a different city for 4 days every week.
That could be I don't know if we should put this up. It's probably not good, but who's more likely to cheat, Travis or Taylor?
I don't know.
That'll get attention.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
By the way, you're assuming there's been a cheating thing with the Post Malone.
No, more likely to in the future.
More likely to.
I would say Travis.
That's a tough poll.
I agree. Because I think at the end of the day, there's always some Instagram model that could.
Right.
It's just.
It's the Chris Rock line. You're only as faithful as your options.
Well, also, too,
he doesn't say that about women.
It's consistent with what you're saying. If he feels insecure in the relationship with Taylor, then one way to act out is to look elsewhere.
Right.
Like preemptively. I don't know if anyone ever has done that in a relationship. I think
throw a grenade into the whole thing?
No, I think she's looking elsewhere. Well, I better jump on this first and be, relationships are hard. It happens.
Wait, that's happened?
Well, yeah, where the relationship's going bad and then you have an affair or you cheat because you're like, this is not working out. I want to preemptively.
This is the you can't fire me, I quit.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
yeah, exactly.
That.
Right.
No, because the way it described before was like, I see she may be looking at other options. Let me get my option first. I was like,
yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. That's a
you wouldn't do that? I mean, I'm not saying I've done that, but that's a logical thing to do as a 24-year-old in a horrible relationship.
Well, they're not 24.
Oh, yeah.
They're 34.
Yeah, she's 30. Yeah, 30.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure their maturity level is there, but you know what I mean. Like, you're in a young dating relationship. There's one way to get out of it is to cheat. Not that I don't know.
There's definitely people who
Manny,
do
you're
that
looking
on
at me
purpose.
like this is not how it works.
No, man. I think if you're trying to break up with somebody, you should probably just break up with them and not cheat.
Well,
good luck with that.
Manny, the voice of reason.
What
here.
are you, 12?
All right. Well, that's a deep dive on these two people we don't know. 855-212-4227. I've interviewed Travis a couple times. Can't say I know the guy.
I mean, Taylor's whole life is on her albums. I feel like we know her. She puts everything out there.
No, I get it, but how much of that is for the song? No, I think some of the stuff happened, but you also got to punch it up a little bit. You know?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You can't have a song about, like, I was sitting around one day watching Netflix. It's just not, it's not as compelling.
I'll
There's
tell
a
you
lot
what,
of documentary.
She would still sell out a full NFL stadium, even if it was about that.
But it's not like the 70s or 80s. I mean, there's a lot of documentary footage of Taylor Swift. Like half of Netflix is behind the scenes at Taylor Swift concerts.
Yeah, you're definitely getting the whole truth there. With
I'm
her as
just
the
saying,
executive producer.
I don't know.
Sarcasm.
I'm probably so naive. I do not know if there are many hidden levels to Taylor Swift. Maybe there are. Feels like she puts it out there. Am I a sucker?
I think so. 855-212-4227. I think everything's a little more crafted than you think.
I don't know. I don't think like Taylor is
It's $1 billion industry. You gotta protect it.
I don't think she like her emotions are exactly locked in a safe somewhere. I think she kind of wears them on her sleeve.
855-212-4227, or so she wants you to believe.
I've seen her at a football game, Maggie. She's not hiding anything.
Yeah, except for maybe a couple tequilas. 855-212-4227. Okay, lots to do, including, this is a great question we have. I'm going to ask it now and let people mull on this during our very small and very brief break. If you were starting a college football program and you needed to hire a coach, and you only could choose from the people who are actively coaching at this moment, can't bring anybody out of retirement, Saban, who would you choose? You're starting a college football program from scratch. You got all the money in the world. You need to hire a head coach, and it has to be somebody who's currently coaching. Who do you choose? 855-212-4227. We hit that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Peter Bellotti. Peter Bellotti's got something to say about Tom Brady and a roast on that day. He's angry and he's speaking his mind, saying Brady was out of line. Should've known better, should've thought twice before agreeing to that roast. It ain't right, talking about his ex-wife crossing the line. Peter Bellotti says someone needs to find that children shouldn't have to hear all of that. It's not fair to them. It's a bogus waves. He's got the road trip blues left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio, can't believe his eyes. But Bogu's stuck at home, his heartache amplifies. Betting against Wembyama, Perloff took the fall. Bogu weeps, Bogu weeps, Bogu weeps. He's got the road trip blues left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio, can't believe his eyes. But Bogu's stuck at home, his heartache amplifies. Betting against Wembyama, Perloff took the fall. But it's Bogus left behind, feeling 10 feet tall. A loser in his own right, can't catch a break. Road trip dreams shattered, for goodness sake. For goodness sake. Bogus counting the minutes, ticking like a clock, while Perloff's cruising highways, Hilarion tall. San Antonio shining, the city's calling their names. Bogus sitting home, stuck playing life's cruel games.
Get it with Snoop, do your double chill on the beat. Parents got a problem, Mickey Cully ain't discreet. Olympics coming fast, but the water's not neat. Gotta clean it up, make the competition sweet. Snoop's in the house and he's laying it down. In Paris where the river's supposed to wear the crown, but there's trouble in the water, yeah, it's going around. While Peter Buddy's on the sideline, I'm making a sound. Now Peter Bellotti ain't fazed by the fuss. While the city's in a hurry, he's missing the bus. Olympic fever high and everyone's a rush. Peter's laid back, in the calm, no crush. Athletes train hard, dreams big, they trust. While Peter's in his world, the side lives robust. Paris may hustle, sparkle and bust, but Peter Bellotti's mind is clear from Olympic dust. As the world tunes in for the gold, the glory, Peter's got other tales, another story. Not about the races or the podium's top. He's cool in the shadows where he doesn't flop. Back to Snoop, with a message so clear, trying to fix the waters before the Olympians cheer. Yet there's Peter Bellotti, sipping on his beer. Olympics might roar, but Peter just doesn't hear. In a sea famed for lights, art, and more, Peter Bellotti finds his peace not keeping the score. While rowers row and swimmers soar, Peter's vibe is different on his own shore. So
Pete Bellotti, you have any bad luck recently?
Let's go back to the
anything bad.
Let's go back.
When's your birthday again?
Let's go back to the fall of 2013.
And the Bogus had a plan on a sunny afternoon. Grabbed a bat and took the field under the summer moon. He said, Jack, let's show 'em how the Bogus boys can play. But little did they know he had whiskey in his sway.
Oh, Andrew Bogus swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches.
Some people I know used to work for the Vikings. I think they might be better than you think. They might be a competitive team. And we guffawed. We laughed. We
literally go.
We might have been way wrong on that. Maybe we should start listening to EJ.
Nah.
Only took you a year.
Well, yeah, but usually when you're talking about your own teams, then you go crazy, and you can't even like if God forbid the Jets or the Knicks or whatever come up, then it's easy to dismiss
Although
you.
EJ did say Jalen Brunson's jersey would be in the rafters. We also guffawed, but anyway, all right, maybe we'll start listening to EJ.
Well, at least we can dismiss him on the Jets. Give me that. Like I can't listen to you on the Jets.
Yeah, he hates Rodgers more than any of us.
Yeah. But the Vikings, he might have been right, Mag.
I think he might have been right. Now, the Vikings had a pretty bad offseason by all metrics, right? You
Well,
had guys
not
getting
really.
hurt. I mean, you had people getting arrested for DUIs.
Well,
like
that
there
stuff,
was
yeah.
some off
This
the
is the
field
NFL
stuff.
Oh my God! If getting arrested for DUI had a win-loss of it, remember the '90s Cowboys?
I'm just saying, if
Who
you
got
put it
arrested
out
for
on
DUI?
paper,
Jordan Addison?
there was other bad things. One of their draft picks passed away.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
if
terrible.
you just wanted to
That
go
was
on
sad,
paper,
yeah.
it's like, oh gosh, this is some tragic stuff that's going on with the Vikings. This might be a lost season. This could be a distraction season. This could be whatever. And I'm not a Darnold believer. However, J.J. McCarthy, we should not even be in a Sam Darnold world, which is ironic because I think J.J. McCarthy was winning that job until he got hurt.
I don't think so. I think Kevin O'Connell knew about Sam Darnold.
Here's Chance. He's in Huntsville, Alabama, wants to talk about his Vikings. Good morning, Chance.
Good morning, y'all. How y'all doing today?
We're good. What's up?
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say that Sam Darnold, from the beginning, knew that he was going to be starting. Kevin O'Connell and them had all said that with the QBs coming in as a rookie, right, the last thing that they want to do is start J.J. McCarthy, and he has a bad year.
Right.
Like Caleb Williams, for example, he's playing pretty bad for where everybody would have expected him to have been. And Sam Darnold is doing exactly what the Vikings expect of him to do. And I believe that Sam Darnold is going to continue to be great as he is showing us in week
Chance,
3.
Here's the thing.
Crazy.
It could be a good marriage, and appreciate the call. It could be the good marriage and the perfect time where Sam Darnold has a lot of scar tissue. He's seen a lot.
Yeah.
He's failed a lot, quite frankly. And now he gets paired with a quarterback coach and an offensive coordinator and head coach, rather, who was really good at seeing the positives of Sam Darnold. Now, I don't know if there's a shelf life on this because I don't know if things as teams start to adjust to you and as the season goes on, are those throws going to be there for Darnold? And do you trust his decision-making 100%? I'm still not there.
So it's interesting. Bill Belichick came out and said everybody in the NFL except the Jets like Sam Darnold. He's like, they liked him in Carolina. He actually had moments in Carolina, believe it or not. They definitely liked him in L.A. last year. But this is you can
San Francisco.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
But generally, though, like in Minnesota, you can make it last season because I know my friend Case Keenum went 13-3. Favre had a crazy out-of-nowhere season. Randall had a nowhere season. Jeff George had an out-of-nowhere season. It's indoors for this entire, they have a lot of indoor games. And they're playing, the Packers and the Lions. Those are going to be some high-scoring games. I think Sam Darnold's going to continue to pass the ball. You're right. He will cost them. This is not going to be, like, perfect. But I don't think it's like going to be 8 games in. They're going to see the tape and figure out Sam Darnold. I think Kevin O'Connell can keep this going. Do you think that at a certain point during the season, what's the expression? The
Pixie dust? Yeah, I do. And here's the
Yeah.
other part. Like, Justin Jefferson is already dealing with some stuff.
Yeah.
If without him, like, it's going to be harder. I'm still.
But also, too, you got to remember they have
to-
Brian Flores on defense. Like, there's a lot of
Flores is
reasons
great.
they could keep on. They could easily. I can see them getting to 11 wins.
We asked the question before the break. If you were starting a college football program from scratch and you had all the money in the world, so that's not an object, and you could hire one head football coach, but it has to be someone who's currently coaching. It cannot be a Hall of Fame coach who happens to be sitting on the set of Game Day. Nick Saban.
Rats.
Who would you pick? Should we do that now or should we save it? Because we got Bogusch here with our update.
I think we should save it.
All right.
I think I'm going to win this one again.
I've got a great option. I love my option.
You're definitely losing. If we put up a poll, this is not going to work out well for you, Mag.
Well, I've got my reasons.
You may have your reasons.
We will also do the flip side of this of the last coach you would want
That
coaching
one,
your team.
that one
That
you
one's
might
going to be
win.
a little different. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Sorry, we ran out of time yakking about the Vikings. Here is Bogusch, who's got headlines for.
And those headlines are sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season's here, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks, use code MNP, and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. You guys began this hour talking about some of the negatives of the extra attention Caitlin Clark brings to WNBA. The good stuff is the basketball, but that's over for now. Clark and the Fever swept by the Sun 87-81 in Game 2 in Connecticut last night.
There's a lot for us to, hold our heads high about. This team won 5 games 2 years ago, so we're a young group, a pretty inexperienced group. But we came together and I had a lot of fun playing with one another.
Caitlin played all 40 minutes last night, scoring 25, handing out 9 assists. Aaliyah Boston threw in 16 and 19 boards, but the Sun reached the Final Four for the 6th year in a row. Alyssa Thomas led them with 19 points and 13 assists. Nafisha Collar tying the WNBA postseason single-game record with 42 points as the Lynx closed out the Mercury 101-88 in their Game 2. Minnesota and Connecticut start their best-of-5 on Sunday. Derrick Rose retiring after 16 NBA seasons. He's 35 years old. That career began with Rookie of the Year, 3 All-Star games, and Rose becoming the youngest MVP in league history, but then injuries were the story. He finishes with a career average of 17 points a game. Things a little too close for comfort in the NL West for the Dodgers, so Shohei Ohtani changed that.
The pitch from Morejon. Ohtani rips it on the ground into right center field. Smith hustling around third. He'll score without a play. Another go-ahead RBI for Shohei Ohtani. A 2-out single. Makes it 4-3 Dodgers in the 6th.
Steven Nelson, Dodgers Radio. That was the difference in the 4-3 win over the Padres. LA can now clinch the division by beating San Diego again today. As for the NL wildcard chase, the Diamondbacks bouncing back with an 8-2 win over the Giants, so they are again tied with the Mets for the last 2 playoff spots. The Braves are 1 game behind them. New York and Atlanta did not play yesterday and will not play today because Hurricane Helene snuck up on them, so they had no chance or like 3 days to make alternate plans. Now they'll play a doubleheader on Monday to decide berths and or seeding.
If Andrew Bogusch was MLB commissioner, this would have been solved, I'm assuming.
I think if almost any other person and some animals were in charge, this would have been solved better.
Yeah, elephants are very smart, and I think they can feel when the bad weather's coming. So there was a mutual off day on Monday for both the Mets and the Braves, so you could have played then. You also could have played a doubleheader 2 days ago.
Right.
So you could have gotten this all in. Now, I'm not going to try to put you on the spot here because I feel like you have to be freaking Watson to come up with all the permutations of this.
Yeah.
But there's no way the Mets can clinch between now and Monday.
The Mets
or the Braves?
The Mets could clinch if they win all 3 games in Milwaukee. I believe that they would clinch a spot, but that does not secure the other spot and it doesn't secure seeding.
Right. So they have to play this Monday night doubleheader with the Monday day doubleheader.
I think they got to play at least one, which is where my frustration is. They should have played twice on Tuesday.
Right.
They should have let one game be the thing that they hadn't decided yet, because one game might not be necessary, but 2, something's going to have to get played on Monday to figure something out. I don't think there's a scenario where everything is decided by the end of Sunday with 2 teams having played 2 fewer games.
And the Braves are going to play the Royals, right?
No, the Royals are going to come to the Braves.
The Royals are coming.
This is the problem. So for the Mets is now they play a game on Sunday in Milwaukee, 2 games possibly in Atlanta on Monday, and then it might have to go play in San Diego on Tuesday.
Right.
The Braves,
with your pitching staff completely in disarray.
Wait. Oh, in San Diego for a playoff game.
Yeah. Right. So the Braves, though, I the way this storm is being projected now, I don't know that Atlanta, as a city, can have a game on Friday.
Right. Who's to say those games are going to get
We don't know if the Royals can get there to play on Friday. The Royals are playing for postseason as well. So you're going to make them fly in and land at 2 p.m. on Friday and play that night? Or are you going to play a doubleheader on Saturday and then have the Braves play another one on Monday? It's such a disaster. And it all boils down this week to the Braves apparently deciding that they did not want to change or lose gate. They had 3 sellouts, and they did not want to make it a doubleheader or anything like that, or have to change schedules for workers to move games around on Tuesday or Monday, and they did nothing, and now they are all royally screwed.
This should be out of the hands of the team.
Exactly.
Because the team can't be trusted here. Because there's somebody who's sitting in a suite somewhere on the 10th floor who's like, screw it. And they didn't even call yesterday's game officially until like 2 hours before, when you got people basically batting down the hatches, getting ready for this major storm. That's a disgrace too.
And also, the Mets didn't leave last night. The Mets couldn't leave last night. They couldn't logistically make it happen. So they're waking up in Atlanta. I'm assuming they're going to get out okay, but like the hurricane is there today at some point. Yeah. So this is it's so dumb. And it's also
even for the Braves, they screwed themselves.
It's also unfair to the teams who don't know who they're playing in the playoffs until Monday night now too. Like whoever, San Diego, whoever else is sitting in those wild card games, they don't know who they're scouting, who they're prepping for, who's going to be in their city until Monday night.
And it makes you kind of us all, I kind of feel like a jerk sometimes because this is a real storm that has a human toll. Like sports should be the last thing on all of our minds. It's all about staying safe. But yet here we are talking about you play 160 games or 157 games. And it comes down to this was exactly what baseball wants as fans. This is super fun and exciting. And it's like, it's all messed up because of this.
I got to tell you, with no investment in any of the teams playing here, like for me, it's just like, I just look at the storm because this is a bad one. Like I don't really care what happens to these teams because I'm not a fan of any of them.
But like the intensity of the storm and the fact that we have these beautiful computers that have been projecting this since like the middle of last week, the fact that they did nothing is unacceptable. It's just unacceptable.
But I feel like it's funny. I don't know if you're not a Mets fan and you're not a Braves fan, it's going to be hard to get your ire up on this one. I can't. Maybe I'm totally wrong.
But everybody is screwed though, because the Royals are screwed now coming into town for the weekend. The teams that don't know who they're going to play are screwed at the back end of all of this. Mm-hmm. And these two teams, the Mets and Braves, are screwed because they're going to get to a playoff game on Tuesday, one of them, or maybe both of them in a certain scenario, where they're going to be completely exhausted. Pitchers have been wasted. And now all this hard work for a full season gets tainted by people being greedy or ignorant or whatever and not changing these games.
You know what I think could have grew the ire that Perloff is talking about that may be missing from this is both teams have stars, but if you had an Aaron Judge or someone who was in this series saying Major League Baseball really screwed us, this was really bad, that would get headlines. That would have everybody saying, whoa, what the hell is going on? Like, I think, the Mets have Lindor, Braves have, I guess it would be Olsen. I don't know who that would be. Like, nobody has like a face of baseball kind of guy involved in this.
Aaron Judge.
That could come out and kind of be the voice of like, we got screwed by our league and this is a problem.
Or if somebody was chasing a record, like if Judge is chasing down 62 or something and it gets all messed up because of the weather.
Right. That would be a little bit easier to focus on. Or if this screwed up his parlay for the end of the season.
You're with me. That's actually live of eBay.
If it was Aaron Judge chasing a record, this would be a much bigger deal. But also the wild card, everything you described is so confusing too. And even for Mets fans, it feels like I hear people talking about like, wait, what's the scenario? What's going on here?
And Braves fans.
Yeah, the math of the wild card is hard enough. I mean, you heard Manny try and do math earlier in the show. We're not great.
No, Manny is just thinking like an NFL owner where they have a 23-game regular season.
Yeah.
I can't count.
He just knows that's where this is
heading. You projected them to go 13-6.
6-13, actually.
6-13, right.
13-6. Ooh, we'd have a hell of a season.
Yeah, this is Manny as a Giants fan. They're so good. They kept just scheduling more and more games. We just didn't want this to end.
Oh, wonderful. More and more of Daniel Jones. Exactly what the tri-state area always wanted.
I would like, as an experiment, make anybody, Manny, anyone, just let them read the ramifications that you described with the weather, what could happen. Just read it once and then try and recite it per word 2 hours later. Can you imagine how hard that would be?
No, this is like the test they give guys at the combine. It's like erase everything on the board. All right, what was just up on the board? I'd be like, I don't know, draft someone else.
Yeah, basically.
I'll go see the Bears. Don't worry about it.
And me only half listening to Bogusch as usual. I'm like, wait, what's happening to the Padres now?
Perloff always chimes in. He's like, wait, the Brewers? What happened?
What position does Helene play?
That's what's in. I don't want the Phillies to lose to the Mets. I don't want the Mets to make the playoffs. I don't want them to match up against the Phillies. I want them out.
But the Braves are the team that. I guess
you
you
should
guys
hate
own
the Braves
them,
more.
I guess I don't know.
No, it's you guys. You guys will trample on me if your Mets beat my Phillies. You'll be like, you had the better record.
We're adults.
No, not when it comes to sports.
I'll be real. It will be great if the Mets beat the Phillies, but I think at this point it's more about winning a World Series. Like it would be amazing. But like I've done I've done 2015, I've done 2000, I've done 06. Like I've done those years where it's like, wow, look, we beat the Dodgers. Wow,
Beat the Cubs,
yeah. Like I've
but
done
the
that
narrative
already.
this year, though, EJ, people are thrilled that they're doing as well as they are. I think I'm noticing that in the headlines. People are really happy.
Oh, it'd be great. But but this is Steve Cohen. This is the most rich owner in all of sports, basically. Like if they beat the Phillies, it'd be amazing. I'd be so happy. I don't feel like I'd just be roasting you like that. It was a lot worse with the Sixers. That was personal.
I would say just get ready because the Mets Express is going to be coming down the tracks.
Yeah,
It's going to be barreling right for Perloff.
Maggie's not going to hold back. You might be nice.
Yeah.
Maggie's
That's
like,
her I'm more worried
Maggie
about.
says God forgives. I don't.
What does that sound when a bus is backing up? Beep, beep, beep. But I don't think it's going to happen. 855-212-4227. Enough about us. More about you. We answered the question. Bogusch, thank you. If you were starting a college football program from scratch, you had all the money in the world, you had to hire a head coach, and it has to be an active head coach, who would you hire? And then on the flip side, who's the last person you'd hire? Get to all that next. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Yeah, I'm good. Ready?
It's far from dead. The shortstop tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet. Oh man, it was the worst. Jack was on the mound, his face turning red. Come on, Dad, get up, this game's far from dead. Oh, Andrew Bogusch swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat. So if you see a little league and laughter fills the air, look for Andrew Bogusch, you might find him there. With a grin and a wink, he'll raise a drink on high, playing ball with Jack's team under the summer sky.
Andrew Bogusch had a plan on a sunny afternoon. Grabbed a bat and took the field under the summer moon. He said, Jack, let's show 'em how the Bogusch boys can play. But little did they know he had whiskey in his sway.
Oh, Andrew Bogusch swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat.
Jack's team was laughing as Dad took his stance, wobbling at the plate in a tipsy baseball dance. The coach was shaking his head, moms were all aghast, but Andrew Bogusch grinned, living in the past.
Oh, Andrew Bogusch swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat. He hit a grounder to the shortstop, tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet. Oh man, it was the worst. Jack was on the mound, his face turning red. Come on, Dad, get up, this game's far from dead. Oh, Andrew Bogusch swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat. He hit a grounder to the shortstop, tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet. Oh man, it was the worst. Jack was on the mound, his face turned red. Come on, Dad, get up.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam and just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. All right, Maggie, you gave everyone an assignment earlier in the hour. Can you lay out the rules? We get to choose a college football coach.
You're starting a college football program from scratch, but you've got all the money in the world. You need to hire an active head coach to defect and come over and be the head coach of your program. Who do you hire?
Okay. With what I know, with what you're giving me, I am hiring Steve Sarkisian, the Texas coach.
Why?
Because I like offense. I like touchdowns. I think there's nobody who's going to scheme it up better than Sark. He is obviously a red-hot recruiter because he got Arch Manning to come to Texas, even though he already had the number one recruit in the country in Quinn Ewers. So I think everything is coming up Sark now, and I know my offense is going to be awesome. We might not win the whole thing,
right?
But at very least, I'm getting a quarterback with 35 touchdowns.
But if I just want a great quarterback coach, I know Sark is very good, but why wouldn't I just get Lincoln Riley then? Then I'm getting guys who have won Heisman after Heisman. I'm getting guys who are number one overall picks in the NFL.
I just honestly, I love Lincoln Riley would be awesome for that, but I'm just picturing the Alabama offense with Sark. It's like nothing I've ever seen. Devontae Smith didn't have guys within 30 yards of him because all the receivers would go in directions that the defense had no idea. I just think Sark is the best.
Okay, see, the thing about Sark or, Dan Lanning, who we love, or Kirby or any of them, what do they all have in common?
Offense.
They're all Saban guys. Basically, you're hiring them. They were all Saban acolytes. At one point or another, they went to the Tao of Saban, and they studied and they learned, and they kind of got everything from Saban.
Sark is a
little more than that. But you just talked about the Alabama year, and that's where things kind of turned around from, because he was at an all-time low with Washington.
He brought
USC.
that to Saban. Saban didn't give it. I mean, listen, Sark has a lot of history.
No doubt.
I mean, he's came right out of that BYU world and took offense to the next level.
To me, I'm going... The Saban tree is awesome, right? Everyone who's on it, the Lane Kiffins, and we mentioned, and I think if I were playing this thing down the middle, I'd probably go with Dan Lanning because we're huge fans of his, and I am. But I think I'd go Deion. I'm starting a college football program from scratch, okay? Money's not an object. And I need to get myself on the map quickly, and I need to start making waves. I'm going to Deion. I have no idea if Deion's a good coach. I think he might not be, X's and O's wise. But I need Jimmys and Joes. I need to get my program off the ground. I need guys who can play. I need attention. I need all of that. I need to make a big splash. I'm going with Deion Sanders. And again, X's and O's wise, I've got a lot of things wrong with Deion, but he took over a 1-win team and he made that team better. And we'll see what happens this year. So I think I'd go Deion Sanders.
Yep, that's the worst possible choice you can make.
Why?
Because if you're good, he's going to leave, and there's going to be so much drama. Is that really what you want? I mean, Colorado was 1-13. That's why they had to hire Deion. I mean, if you're any
Has he made it better?
Yeah, he's made it better.
Right.
I'm
starting from scratch.
All right. Okay. Let's do a poll on that one. And let's put a couple other guys who are high-end names and see how Deion does.
Rock is in Atlanta, has a different thought for us. Rock, who would you hire if you could hire any college football coach?
I might be a little biased because I'm in the Peach State, but, you got to go with Kirby, man. I mean, the last 6-7 years, there's only been one completely offensive team to win a championship, which was, LSU, and we see what the downside of that is. I mean, you got somebody that can bring the tempo of a game down to his strength. You got to go with defense. That's win championships. That's why the SEC is reigning over the last 25 years. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, defense wins championships. So I got to go with Kirby.
Rock,
he's the next godfather, though.
Rock, could Kirby do this at another program? I feel like Georgia is perfectly designed for him.
Yeah, I mean, could he do it at a different program? It might take him a while because he's in the fertile states where he's surrounded by Florida. Yeah. He gets kids from Cali. He gets all people from every part of the region. So I don't think it would be, say, if he went to Vanderbilt, I mean, could he do that? I mean, James Franklin did, put 9 consecutive wins in the history of Vanderbilt, never been done. So if Franklin could do it, I believe, Kirby could do it down there too. So, you got to go with what works. You know what I'm saying? Defense has been a staple last 15, 20 years.
Yeah, Rock, you're right. I mean, if you can win championships with Stetson Bennett, right? It's not like you don't need the Heisman Trophy winner, and you're still able to beat the best of the best. Rock, thank you for that.
You did have some pretty good offensive players even during that era.
Obviously, definitely.
But no, it's a good point. Yeah, I'm starting a program. I'm not hiring a defensive guy. Come on, we get to start this from scratch. Who wants a defensive guy? I understand. It was a great point. But no, you definitely, I'm going to want to light that scoreboard up.
Rock's got a good point, though. Go with Kirby.
Kirby's such a boring choice. Yeah, I know he's really good, but why would you, in this exercise, why would you choose Kirby Smart?
Because he's basically like the guy now. He's not the face of college football. I'll give you that. He's in some ways, it's impossible for him to be under the radar, but he's not like this massive personality.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's kind of like a bland choice.
Well, he's just winning. That's all.
Yeah. So if that's the exercise, who has the best record? I mean, 5 years ago, that means you would have picked Dabo.
That's true. And would anyone pick Dabo right now? Although my Clemson to win the ACC is definitely very much still alive. Maybe just Clemson not playing Georgia is a much better product than anything else.
Yeah, would you still play? No,
I wouldn't pick Dabo. No, because I can't. If he's not going to use the transfer portal, it's just not of this era.
It just feels weird. Kirby's coaching an actual NFL team going against college teams. Like, the team is so good. Do we know that Kirby's a great coach? Yes, he's a Hall of Fame coach, but I don't know that he's my guy.
855-212-4227. If you could start a college football program, you have all the money in the world, but you got to pick an active head coach, who would you choose? I told you. I said Deion. Perloff said Sark.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Pilati, it's time to say goodbye.
Oh, Pete Pilati, it's time to say so long. You grumbled and groaned, but we stayed strong. With your love for old shows and your curmudgeon charm, now you're off to Amy, and we're raising the alarm. Good riddance, Pete, we'll be better off today. No more Three's Company or Alf in our way. Off to Amy Lawrence, where you can grumble all night. The show will be smoother, everything will feel just right. You offered to run the White Sox, what a plan. But running our show, you were our grumpy old man. With the NBA on NBC playing in your head, we'll carry on now without all that dread. Good riddance, Pete, we'll be better off today. No more Three's Company or Alf in our way. Off to Amy Lawrence, where you can grumble all night. The show will be smoother, everything will feel just right. You offered to run the White Sox, what a plan. But running our show, you were our grumpy old man. With the NBA on NBC playing in your head, we'll carry on now without all that dread. Good riddance, Pete, we'll be better off today. No more Three's Company or Alf in our way. Off to Amy Lawrence, where you can grumble all night. The show will be smoother, everything will feel just right. You ran the fort, but always with a scowl. Now the airwaves will be free of your growl. So here's to a new day without your TV fuss. People out of you're gone, but it's good for us. Good riddance, Pete, we'll be better off today. No more Three's Company or Alf in our way. Off to Amy Lawrence, where you can grumble all night. The show will be smoother, everything will feel just right. So long, Pete Pilati, we're glad to see you go. The vibe will be lighter, the laughter will flow. No more complaints, just a fresh new start. Goodbye, Pete, we're happy to part.
Andrew Perloff, he's got style and class. He's a top-notch doctor, never goes half-assed. From his milky white ankle to his aching back, he's getting treatments that most folks lack. But while he's in the office getting royal care, there's a dude named Mike who's never there. Sam's got a knack for just disappearing. Leave you wondering, is he even nearing? Lost with the best, Sanford's never at his desk. You think he's on vacation or just lost in the mess. One's getting pampered, the other's MIA. Mike Samter, where you been today? Perloff sipping tea, talking health with pros, getting all the scans while he strikes a pose. Mike, on the other hand, is just a mystery. Showing up to work, that's ancient history. You call his phone, but it's just a ghost. Has he vanished? Who really knows? While Perloff's filling up with precision and grace, Santer's nowhere, like he's left the race.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
I know we got a big game tonight, Cowboys and Giants. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. But Perloff, I think the game of the weekend has got to be Georgia-Alabama. This one, I think, is setting up to be a lot of fun. Now, does it have the same college football implications as years past? No, probably not. Both teams are going to make the playoff, I assume, now that it's 12 teams. But this is still a great test. Through all the cupcakes and the Little Sisters of the Poor that have been playing and the big scores getting put up, this is a real, great school and great team versus great team, and let's see who's going to be the victor.
Yeah. And let's not forget Heisman, too, because I think Carson Beck and Jalen Milroe, the funny thing about if you just look at the quarterbacks, I'm not sure we know how good either one is. Like we said, Jalen Milroe's been better in the pocket with Kellen DeBoer, but do we know against a good team he's going to be able to do that? And Carson Beck, that Kentucky game, what was that? I was ready to have him be the number one pick on the Giants next year. So I think we'll learn a lot in this game.
Yeah, whoever wins this game probably takes the lead on the Heisman vote. But I would say my dark horse pick of Travis Hunter for Heisman, I'm really liking. But anyway, back to this game.
Yeah, I mean, you never win in September anyway. There's a lot of Cam Ward and Jackson Dart have a lot to say about this too. But that being said, I think both teams are making the playoff. So let's be real about that. That is a slight downside of the 12-team playoff. It doesn't feel like what LSU and Alabama would play. Yeah. Honestly, like I lean Georgia. Just the Kentucky game, like that was so bad. Like they got to be fired up. I just don't know. I don't trust Kellen DeBoer yet because I don't know him yet.
So here's the thing, though, about why I'm actually leaning Alabama here. It's not just about the Kentucky game. We've seen this happen before where they've had close games on the road. It's been tough, and Georgia has gotten through those and then gone on to the greatest heights you can in winning a national title. I understand it. But I feel like I've watched them in a couple instances get off to slow starts in the first half. Now, one was the first game of the year against Clemson, and that was a one-score game at halftime that people don't remember because the final score, and it was so dominant by the time it was all said and done. But can you afford to have a slow first half against Alabama? I don't know if you can.
Didn't Alabama do the same thing against South Florida?
Yeah, you're right about that.
Actually, a slow first three quarters.
South Florida gives them fits. And I guess you could say Kentucky gives Georgia fits. So maybe there's like on both sides, another team just sort of kind of has you a little bit figured out. But I'm looking at like what Alabama did to Wisconsin, and I'm like, this was not even a game. So this is the one thing I just get a little. That's why I'm like I'm slightly sort of leaning Alabama, and also maybe slightly giving the lean towards Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, Wisconsin was hanging in there for a while, by the way. That was not like, it didn't like Alabama didn't blow the doors out of them either. Like Alabama's offense, I'm not so sure about. I love Jalen Milroe. I just don't know. Like if it's not a bomb to Ryan Williams, what is it? Well, in a big game, he'll write like, I don't know. I think you're dismissing Georgia a little too quickly.
I'm not dismissing them. I'm not dismissing them at all. I'm just wondering if I'm thinking about how this game is going to go. And you're right. I mean, it's not like Alabama's been so amazing out of the gate, but that makes me a bit concerned about Georgia. Now, listen, Georgia's defense, still great. How Alabama's going to crack that is going to be fascinating. Right now, it's Alabama's a 2-point favorite, I believe, right? Yeah. Got to get the spread on this one.
Okay.
So there you go. This is the game of the weekend. No disrespect to the NFL. I don't think there's an NFL. You can say, just because the Cowboys play tonight and there's lots of Cowboy fans. The Cowboys are playing the Giants. They're almost a touchdown favorite. They've destroyed the Giants in the Dak Prescott era. It hasn't even been close. Dak is 12-2 against the Giants. I don't see another great NFL game on the docket this week. This is the game.
I think Georgia's 2-point favorites, right? Isn't that or
they're 2-point favorites
on
the road?
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Wait, Georgia's favorite, right?
Yes, I had the wrong favorite.
But you don't compare game of the week doesn't go college versus NFL because the NFL will always outrate. Even this game, they'll outrate.
I'm just saying for our purposes, like what I'm most interested in. What I want to see, I want to see this Georgia-Alabama game more than I want to see any of the other NFL matchups.
I'd be careful about that college versus NFL game because the thing that NFL has is and college too, everybody wants to see their fantasy player and their bets. So there is.
Yeah, no one bets on college football.
I'm just saying,
I mean, come on.
You think like do not denigrate any NFL week is a big deal. So I don't like to compare the two. This is obviously the game of the year so far in college football, and the other game of the year will be Texas Georgia, October 19th, depending on what happens here. So forget compared to the NFL. It's the game of the year, and that being said, that's not going to take anything away from Sunday. Two work in conjunction. It's all there's no competition here. I don't like when people go. We used to do that debate at DB show. There's no college versus the NFL. The two work together perfectly.
I'm asking which game you want to see the most, and I want to see Alabama Georgia more than I want to see Bengals Panthers.
Oh well, I mean, if you made me watch, well, obviously I'm watching the Bengals Panthers.
See, I think this is the game of the weekend. 855-212-4227. Oh yes, you have to see the Red Rifle because you guys are personally friends.
I don't know. We're not really friends, by the way. Like, but that being said, like that's a great game. That's why they're on different days, Maggie. You don't have to choose between any of these.
We asked a question. If you were starting a college football program from scratch and you had all the money in the world, you need to hire a head coach. but it has to be someone who's active. They can't be retired like Nick Saban, who's hung it up now and is on College Game Day. So who would you choose? Perloff, you went with one of the hottest college football players now.
Coaches Steve Sarkisian, yeah.
Sark, obviously, Texas goes to the Final Four last year. Now he's got the number one team in the country. Clearly, Sark's on a heater. If I were starting a team from scratch, I would go with Deion because I know I'm going to get eyeballs. I know that I'm going to be able to get recruits. Not that Sark's not, but I know that my name and my aura, image, whatever, is going to get people to pay attention. And even if my first season doesn't go great, I know people aren't going to tune away from me because Deion has a way of taking up a lot of oxygen. So I'm going to still get a lot of attention. I'm still going to get, millions of people watching my games, even if I'm not even close to being a contender. That's hard to buy.
What's your goal here with this new program? What are you looking for?
I got to get it off the ground. I got to start getting some recruits. I got to start getting a little notoriety. And the thing with Deion is I know even if I only win 4 or 5 games, I'm still going to be able to get a lot of attention. People won't turn the back on me. They can't.
Yeah, I mean, I would think like a bigger factor would be winning a title eventually. Then question, can anyone see Deion sticking around your program to take it through all the way home?
Well, do you believe that? That's why I've got all the money in the world. I've got to keep Deion around. That's a big part of this what if.
Can we put a poll up there? Kirby will win this poll, but can we put Kirby Smart, Steve Sarkisian, Deion Sanders, and Dan Lanning? If you could pick one coach?
Yeah.
I'm just curious how Deion does on that.
Here's Will. He's in the East Bay. Will, if you could have one college football coach to start a program, who is it?
Well, first, I just want to say the Bengals and Panthers might keep you on the edge of your seat there, Maggie.
Yeah, you don't think Alabama, Georgia is going to keep me on the edge of my seat?
No, you got to go with the Bengals and the Panthers.
All right.
By the way, aren't the Bills and the Ravens playing this week?
Sunday night, yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna get a lot of eyeballs.
You think?
But too bad you're not watching because of this
I've
dichotomy.
already watched Alabama, Georgia is the game of the week. What's up, Will?
I got a coach. An active coach, I think it's a no-brainer. I'm going to go with Jim Harbaugh.
But he's in the NFL now.
You didn't say that.
You did, Maggie. He got you.
You're getting me on a
Will, good job.
technicality here, Will.
Thank you.
Well, here's the other part.
If it had to be college, it would be Lincoln Riley. But you said an active coach, and I think it's a no-brainer.
Why would you want Lincoln Riley?
I just think he has a pedigree, obviously with Heisman Trophy-winning quarterbacks, but I think he's built up enough of a pedigree where he could hire the people around him. And, he's kind of a work in progress, that program. And I still think, you're going to see some great stuff out of the Trojans. Let me say this, too. When they finally get around to the 12 teams or whatever, I think you're going to start finding a lot less teams that are totally undefeated. Now, I know a lot of
totally.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the big programs are still going to have the dogs on their program. It's good for them. It's good for the dogs. A lot of money. But I think you're going to start seeing a lot of one-loss, maybe some two-loss teams that are going to get into this thing.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm going to stick with Jim Harbaugh, an active coach.
Well, here's the whole thing, though, Will. We're asking if you could start a college football program from scratch and you could have any coach who's active, who would it be? And Will tried to oopsie-doop me by saying Jim Harbaugh, even though he's now with the Chargers. But Jim Harbaugh is facing major NCAA restrictions and violations. So I would not have him. He's got show cause penalties and stuff like that.
If you're opening up the NFL, would you go for former University of Texas wide receiver Kyle Shanahan, or maybe bring McVay into college? Like, if you're opening up the NFL, do I get those guys?
I have Bill O'Brien, who's at BC. He was football, he was college, he was pro, he's done it all. Maybe I'd pick someone like him. I don't know.
I gave you Shanahan and McVay, and you're giving me Bill O'Brien.
I'm just saying.
I got to tell you, you can have Bill O'Brien. Trust me, you'll be able to hire Bill O'Brien if you want.
Oh, we'll see. Big win over Florida State. Charles is in Maine. Charles, if you could pick one college coach, who would it be?
Well, let me first say I'm a little surprised, Miss Gray, that you aren't going to be glued to the edge of your seat watching the Ravens and the Bills.
I will be.
Your Bills going into Baltimore. Come on.
This would be a tough one.
Usually it's Perloff who puts me back on my heels, but I was shocked to hear you say that.
Okay, but I didn't say it was like Illinois facing Indiana here. It's Alabama, Georgia.
I know, but you're a Bills stan. Come on.
Well, beyond that, it's
Don't
unhealthy.
You want to see what they're going to? Well, it is unhealthy. I'm a Browns fan. It's unhealthier.
Touche.
But watching the Bills go into Baltimore Sunday night, I think I'm looking forward to Georgia, Alabama. I can't wait to see that. But with regard to your question,
yeah,
and since Barry Switzer is neither available nor active, and since Perloff wants a little bit more spice in the bouillabaisse here, I'm going to expand the word active to include the word available, and I would go with Urban Meyer.
No thanks.
Yeah, not technically retired, or he's retired several times. I'm not really sure what his status is right now. I think the status is still getting paid by the Jaguars, so I'm going to do TV for a while.
Well, he's also available. I think he would go back to college. I think he would be kind of Deion without the me cult of personality. He would certainly attract the attention, like you guys just described, that Deion attracts to himself.
Sure.
But he would also not be, I think he also might have a slight Nick Saban vibe there, having failed in the NFL, having failed miserably in the NFL,
Sure.
and going back to college. But anyway,
again, also an Urban Meyer team will also attract the attention of the local police. Charles, thank you so much. I kid, but Urban, a lot comes with Urban, you know.
Well, it's different though. The old school coaches in the post. I mean, Nick walked away because NIL probably. He's like, is Urban the guy? Like, you need if I'm hiring somebody, I might not go with Urban or Nick because I don't know. There's like you can't stack 6 5-star recruits all over your lineup like Urban and Nick did.
Like
yeah,
back
I just
in the
don't
day.
think like he can't dominate the things that Urban did. Like he can't really do anymore because of so much more pro in college.
Right. The fact that you can't have full, utter, and total control over your players. You can't coach with fear. You can't.
You lose your guys transfer out when they don't play. You can't stack all these players. I don't think like Urban Meyer is never recreating Florida and Ohio State. That's just not happening anymore. Although current Ohio State kind of feels like that, but I'm not sure. That's terrible. I say like it's a game past Urban Meyer by a little bit. Like would he be able to come in and dominate? We might see it. Who knows?
I think he's going to coach again at some point.
Do you expect him, if he does come back, do you expect him like, I just don't think it's going to be easy for him to win another title.
Well, it's not going to be easy to win. It's never easy, but
It was easy when he left Florida.
I think that there's still a part where you can say, I think there's still something that works when you say, I can get you to the NFL. I still think that means something. No?
Well, yeah, but is that an Urban thing? I don't know. Kirby Smart gets everyone. Yeah, I'm just not sure. It's a different time in college football. I feel like the torch has been passed to the Dan Lannings of the world.
Adrian is in Maryland. Adrian, what do you think of my pick? If I could pick a coach to start a program from scratch, I'd pick Deion Sanders. What do you think about that?
Come on, Maggie. Let's get serious here. We're picking a guy that can't win 5 games in the college game. I understand you're saying the eyeballs, but he still doesn't even recruit at that. And it's known. He doesn't go in and recruit. He runs to the portal to get all these guys, which you need people in the trenches to win games. So my pick would be, I'm not a big fan of him, but Mike McDaniels, because I think he would relate to the kids, and he would be one of them. You know what I mean? So it would all come together. But this Deion thing, we got to throw out the window. I get people saying, "Oh, he should be the next Dallas Cowboys coach." Who's taking a coach that can't win 5 games in college to come to the NFL? And Dallas has enough eyeballs on him where they don't need Deion to put eyeballs on him.
No, at the NFL, I don't see Deion as a fit. Adrian, thanks for the call. But you're saying, Deion can't win 5 games, starting from a team that won 1 game. There were coaches who couldn't go to Colorado and win 2 games, and he's done more. So I want to give some credit where it's due. I don't love Deion, and everything he does, but he has gotten that program to be a bit better. What do you think about Miami Dolphin head coach Mike McDaniel as a college coach?
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, he has the emotional thing down pat, relates to young players.
Give Tua a kiss on the head.
I mean, his he's very good at running. He seems to have mastered the NFL offense, the Shanahan thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure that offense works in college necessarily, but I think that's very interesting. It doesn't feel like he's I know he just signed an extension in Miami. We'll see how long that lasts. I like it. I feel like he'd be a great college coach. I mean, he went to Yale, right? I don't know if his college experience will really translate to a major program.
Well, if we're going on everyone's college tape.
Well, I'm just saying, it just doesn't feel like he learned anything in his experience at Yale that's going to help him in the Big Ten, for example.
I don't know. If we're going on college tape, then I definitely win. Dion was definitely the best college player of all these guys.
No. I'm just saying he has no big program experience.
I can see Mike McDaniel just vaping with his student athletes while playing ping pong in the locker room.
So in that way, he's relatable?
Oh, 100%. He 100% in that way, he could be relatable to 21-year-olds.
There's one thing about McDaniel that would not want him as a head coach for college.
What's that?
The way he's handled the Tua thing I would be like, I don't know if you're going to protect my players.
Oh, we're getting serious now.
Sorry.
Well, yeah. I mean, calling the concussions a back issue.
Yeah, I mean, if we're being serious, like that would be the one thing that would make me pause.
You wouldn't want your son playing for?
No.
Oh, you're right, because I think when administrators and politicians, when they're picking a college football coach, they're like, how do I protect my players? I don't care if he wins or loses. It's all about protect. They don't care about that. They care about wins and losses. That's what the money's about.
The Dolphins organization may be in ruins because of how they handle Tua.
College football coaches care about nothing but winning. I mean, college football programs.
You won't win games if you can't keep your quarterback upright. And you're putting him in
I
danger.
don't think they see it that way. I don't think that's going to be a knock on him at all.
Okay.
Interesting. 855-212-4227. Okay, question. If you were starting a college football program from scratch, needed a head coach, have to hire somebody who's an active head coach. So you can't bring in Nick Saban. You can't bring the rigger. I don't think you can get an NFL coach either. I almost want to take that off the table. That's not the spirit of what we're talking about.
I don't know if you'd pick Saban. 71. You're starting from scratch.
855-212-4227. Okay, lots more to do, including a visit from our pal Nick Kostos, usually with us on Fridays, going to join us on a Thursday today. So we'll get his thoughts on the Thursday night football game from the betting perspective, also Alabama, Georgia from a betting perspective, and of course, Nick's upset of the week. We get that all next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Maggie's at home, sick in the zone. She bet Perloff, but she's all alone. Jalen Clark hit the 2-0 mark. Now free egg McMuffins are lighting a spark. EJ's munching, Bogu's too. They're calling down, what's Maggie to do? Stuck in the closet, feeling so ill, hogging her jerseys, dreaming of bills. But where's Peter Maloney? Never in sight. He's ghosting the job day and night. Free breakfast, no Peter, that's the way it goes. He's missing in action, nobody knows. Maggie's got her tissues all wrapped up tight, but the real story here just ain't right. Peter's missed again, that's the way it goes. He's McMuffin stack up like he's never seen. Perloff's floating with a big old grin. Maggie's sick at home, no chance to win. But Peter's absence is the real big plot. He's off the radar like he forgot. But where's Peter Maloney? Nobody can say. He's skipping work day after day. Peter's missed again, that's the routine. While McMuffins stacked up like he's never seen. Perloff's gloating with a big old grin. Maggie's sick at home, no chance to win. But Peter's absence is the real big plot. He's off the radar like he forgot. Where's Peter Maloney? Nobody can say. He's skipping work day after day. Maggie's back, well she's missed the fun. But Peter's no-show is problem one. Muffins for everyone here, but Peter's never close, he won't appear. Is he on vacation, lost in a dream, or just a legend, never to be seen? Oh, Peter Maloney, where did you go? You're MIA, the ultimate no-show. Maggie's at home, and she's missing out, but it's Peter's vanishing act we're talking about. So here's to the bet, to the Breakfast feast, but Peter's absentee status, that's increased. Now he's sick, hugging Bill's blues. And Peter Pilotti's nowhere, what's the news? Oh yeah!
Sitting in my room, scrolling through the tube, watching Maggie and Perloff, getting in the groove. Found a viewer in the chat, his name's Dalton, I'm Brian. Spitting fire comments, he's the #1. Living life in 20-second views, scrolling through, he's got no time to lose. Maggie and Perloff, Daily's keeping score, YouTube's his love. He's begging for more, double tap, clicking on that video. From sunrise to sunset, he never lets it go. Maggie snappy, Perloff's got it glow.
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is sponsored by the new 2025 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid that has class-leading advanced safety features like the available blind spot view monitor to make your ride more enjoyable. Were you playing fast car because there was a car read there, Manny? Is that what was going on there?
That was just an incredible coincidence. I actually was scrambling here and just saw something.
Oh, because, you know, when you're trying to get hype to make some picks, like there's nothing like a little Tracy Chapman to get you in the mood, right,
Are
Maggie?
we sure this is that version? This could be the other version from the guy who you and I saw at the Super Bowl, whose name is escaping me right now.
Oh, no, that was Tracy Chapman, I think, right?
That may have been
Luke Bryan or somebody like that?
No.
God, Combs?
No, Luke Combs. Thank you. All right, enough of us talking about music. Let's keep it to things we know, although that's debatable whether we know about gambling. Nick Kostos is the co-host of You Better You Bet. He joins us on Thursday this week, so a little bit different. Nick, how you doing, pal?
I'm great. Fast Car, one of my favorite songs growing up as a kid. The Luke Combs version is pretty good, but nothing beats the Tracy Chapman version. Great to be on with you.
It's a banger. Before we get to the bets, Nick, we're going to throw our question of the day out at you, which is from the college ranks. Here's the scenario. You are starting a college program from scratch. Money is no object, but you need to hire a head coach. And it can only be the head coaches who are currently active. It can't be retired Nick Saban or whatever. Who would you pick to start your program?
I'd go with one of the coaches in the Alabama-Georgia game, and I think you could take your pick, either one. Probably, like, Kirby Smart is the safe answer, like, is literally built a juggernaut that only loses to Nick Saban. And Nick Saban's not around anymore, so I think Kirby Smart is a great choice. I do think, and I like Georgia in the game on Saturday, I do think that Kalen DeBoer has a chance to be like the next great head coach in college football, has won big everywhere he's been, obviously taking Washington in a couple of years to the national championship game. I think he's going to be super successful at Alabama. I don't like them in this game on Saturday against Georgia. I think you could go with one of those two coaches and feel really good about your choice.
Yeah, but Alabama, I think, wanted Dan Lanning over Kellen DeBoer. I mean, Dan Lanning, I think, has to be in this conversation.
Yeah, Lanning's done an awesome job. I think my issue with Lanning, and maybe this will prove to be the same with DeBoer, is Lanning as head coach at Oregon has proved to be kind of like a big game dud thus far. And think about the head-to-head meetings with Washington and DeBoer last year. So I'm not saying Dan Lanning stinks, and Lanning obviously comes from the Kirby Smart tree, defensive coordinator for Kirby at Georgia. I would go DeBoer over Lanning, but Lanning is obviously a magnificent coach also.
Can you talk some sense into my co-host for 1 second here, Nick? Did you share your pick yet?
I picked Dion. I'm trying to get eyeballs here.
Choice.
I'm trying to get eyeballs here, Nick. I'm trying to get big time transfers. I got to start this thing from scratch.
They have so many. They have so many great transfers. The team's great at Colorado. They're awesome.
Also, I need a coach where if we win 3 games the first year, everyone's still going to pay attention and not turn their back on me. Wait, let's get your thoughts on this Alabama-Georgia game.
Hold on, wait, Maggie, they're 14-point dogs against UCF this weekend in year 2. You want Dion as your coach?
Do you believe that?
By the way, UCF, that's a scary game. Here's the thing. That Alabama-Georgia game, you say you like Georgia in the game. How would you bet it? You like Georgia and you're laying the 2. You like how would you play this game from a betting angle?
Yeah, I would say just like lay the points with Georgia. I think it's a juiced 1.5 right now at BetMGM. A couple of weeks ago, this number was going to be 4.5 before Georgia's near miss against Kentucky. And look, Alabama's really good. I think Milroe's the better college quarterback, certainly in this game than Carson Beck. I think you're getting a little bit of a discount betting Georgia here at any number under 3. I think if we get to like Georgia -3, I don't want to make this like a nerdy betting conversation. I don't think I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff. Just think about this. 3, the most important number when we talk, is certainly more in the NFL than college, but 3 is a really important number. So Georgia -3, I don't know if that's worth betting, but Georgia -1.5, 2, 2.5 would be bets for me coming up on Saturday at Alabama. I just think you're getting a break on the price with Georgia.
All right, Nick, take your emotion out of it. Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants tonight. I don't know how your success rate. I'm really good. The one team I'm really good at picking is my Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not sure how you do with the Giants, but how do you read what's going to happen tonight in New Jersey?
Well, I had them last week against the Browns, which was awesome. Had them against the Commanders. Should have won if they had a kicker. That was really aggravating. I really like the Giants tonight against the Cowboys. I don't understand the move in the market. So Dallas has gotten bet over the course of the last 24 hours. Now, Giants injury report comes out. They're going to be without a couple starting corners. Drew Phillips has been outstanding thus far as a rookie, and Adoree Jackson will both miss tonight's game. So Dallas gets bet up. This was as low as 4.5, and now we're sitting at 6. Dallas -6 coming up tonight. And I strongly disagree with that move. Strongly disagree. And I think you guys know I am a Giants fan. I am not a homer when it comes to my team. I think the gap between these two teams is way less than the betting market indicates coming into tonight. And just think about Dallas' schedule so far, right? And what they've done. The week 1 win at the time, and I picked it on the show, right, as an upset against Cleveland, looked great at the time. The Browns were favored in that game. Deshaun Watson's the worst quarterback in the league, right? And the Browns' 1 win was against the Jacksonville team that now looks like Jacksonville might be the worst team in the league. Then they get thumped by the Saints, and obviously final score way flattering to Dallas last weekend against the Baltimore Ravens. That game not nearly as close as the final score would indicate. And look, Giants handled the Browns last week on the road and look really good in doing so. Giants' first 2 losses, all of a sudden, don't look that bad, right? Get thumped at home by Minnesota. Minnesota looks like one of the best teams in the league. And then if they had a kicker, they would have beaten a Washington team that just went on the road in primetime and beat Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I think this point spread's nuts. I can be wrong. You could come on the air tomorrow. Cowboys could win by 20. I think it's very unlikely. I love the Giants tonight. And I think the Giants can win the game tonight also. I'll have a money line bet on the Giants also.
Nick Kostos joining us from You Better You Bet to give us all the betting angles, especially this week in the NFL, college as well. We'll get to Nick's upset pick in just a moment. Okay, so what do you do with 0-3 teams like the Bengals and like the Jags from a betting perspective, Nick? Because I think when we talk about it from a narrative perspective, it's like, oh, these are desperate teams. Who's the more desperate team? But you could have said that last week. And quite frankly, you didn't see a lot of it. So how do you bet the Bengals and the Jags this week?
I think it comes down to price. No matter how much you hate a team or think a team is terrible, there always has to be a price when you bet that you would consider betting on this team, no matter how bad they are.
Right.
For me, and I'll talk about the Jaguars game first, and I'm just going to see what the point spread is currently. Yeah, for me, that point came when Jacksonville was a 7-point underdog earlier this week against Houston. To me, that point spread is absolutely crazy. You might be out there listening or watching and saying, well, like Jacksonville, did you watch the game on Monday night? I did. I watch every game. I bet on Jacksonville. It was an absolutely brutal effort and a terrible bet by yours truly. And Houston can win this game by 30. Just because I like Jacksonville doesn't mean that they have to keep the game close. I'm just telling you that from a number standpoint, like 7 is a crazy point spread in that game. We've since dipped below that. We're now at like Houston -6.5, but we're very close to 7. My honest betting recommendation, I have bet this myself. Jacksonville +7, I think, is a bet that you make and you live with whatever the result is. Because I think you are making a great bet. That point spread is nuts. It should not be close to 7. It is an overreaction based on what we saw on Monday. Again, doesn't mean the Jaguars have to keep the game close. They could be an embarrassment. Peterson could get fired after the game, certainly. I'm just saying, like, betting-wise, I think Jaguars +7 is a bet that absolutely has to be made. As far as the Bengals and the Panthers go, I don't know what number I would need to feel comfortable betting Cincinnati in this game. And it comes down to price. Like, if you ask me, save your daughter's life, pick the winner of the game, I would pick Cincinnati to win the game. But a point spread conversation is different. Like, you need Cincinnati, a 4-point favorite, to win this game by margin in a revenge game for Andy Dalton and the Carolina Panthers. And my question for people would be, what has Cincinnati done thus far this season to show you that they can win a game by margin? That not just win, but they need to win this game by like 6, or they're not going to win by 5. Like 5 doesn't land. You need them to win by 6, 7, 10 points to win this game against the Carolina offense that's got at least a little bit of juice now with Andy Dalton. So I took the points with the Panthers. I took 4.5. We're now sitting at 4. I think this game will be close. Bengals can definitely win. Again, I would pick the Bengals to win if I had to pick a winner. And the total of the game is 47. I think the total is way too low. The Bengals are going to score in this game on this Carolina defense. And conversely, how did the Bengals defense look on Monday night against Jaden Daniels? I certainly think that the Panthers can score as well. I like the over in the game. And Maggie, I'll take the Panthers plus the points.
Hey, Nick, when you see these low totals like 36.5, 37, I know the Dolphins Titans is 36.5. It feels like they can't make the totals low enough this year, the way the season. I know last week you told us this is sort of an extension of the preseason. I just don't understand how some teams like the Steelers are 3-0, but I don't see how they put up points. The Browns obviously don't look like they have any way to score. Can you feel confident in continuing to go under, or are there seasons where all of a sudden offense is figured out?
Yeah, Andrew, I would say it works on like a case-by-case basis, right? I think you have to approach each game individually as opposed to like painting with a broad brush. And I'll just give you a thought I have on Browns-Raiders just to like draw an example to that game. You're right. Cleveland's offense has been brutal. Like they really need, like they got to bench Deshaun Watson. Think about the 180 vibe check that's done there. Jameis Winston goes into the lineup as opposed to Deshaun Watson. At least the Browns they're bad and they're not fun. At least be bad and fun. And that would be the case. Seriously, with Jameis Winston.
Like who, the White Sox? Who's bad and fun?
Well, the Browns would be with Jameis Winston.
Maybe.
There were some definite like bad. Like right now, the Giants are bad and fun. The Commanders might be bad and fun with Jaden Daniels. In the Browns-Raiders game, though, and I'll be really brief on this, 2 all-world pass rushers, 1 on each team, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, both are injured. Like both are hurt right now. The Browns defense just got lit up by Daniel Jones. The Raiders defense just got lit up by Andy Dalton. The total in this game is 37. If I had to bet the total, I would bet the over and feel great about it. Honestly, it's probably a bet that I'll make coming up this week. Now, I wouldn't bet every over. That's in like the mid to high 30s, but that's one that I would bet over. Again, just like think about each game as its own individual puzzle that needs to be solved.
Nick Kostos joining us, the co-host of You Bet or You Bet. We'll get Nick's upset pick in just a moment. But Nick, we heard Aaron Rodgers talking about the toughest thing for the Jets this season is going to be handling success. Wow, have we jumped a couple lily pads across the river. But did you see enough in that Jets-Patriots game to now say, all right, I'm comfortable laying 7.5 for the Jets at the hosting the Denver Broncos? Do you feel more comfortable with Jets in these bigger numbers just because of what you saw with the Patriots, or do you still need to see more? Would you go Denver in the points on this one?
So I think there's like a push and pull going on here to answer your question, Maggie. Like this is not like one-way betting action on this game. The Broncos keep getting bet down to 7, and then the Jets get bet back up to 7.5. And I think if you like Denver in the game, it's never like I think Denver can win, but I don't think people are betting it expecting the Broncos to win. It's because of the way the Jets play. Aaron Rodgers takes the play clock down to 1. They're not looking to have like these really like obvious quick strike drives are great, but it's not the way they play offense. They're going to run the ball a lot with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. Rodgers is going to bleed the play clock down. They're going to play great defense. So I think the concern that bettors have is, can the Jets win this game by margin if that's the way that they're going to play? They did it last week against the Patriots. That's great. Can they win now by 10 if they're a 7.5-point favorite against the Denver Broncos? I'll tell you what. I would not bet Denver in the game. That also doesn't mean I want to lay 7.5 with the Jets. 7, I would be interested in the Jets. I think the way that you play this game, and I'll give you guys this bet. I think you feel really good about like 2-team teasing the Jets and the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City right now is 7.5 on the road at the Chargers. Joe, Control-Alt-Delete. And Rashawn Slater, great on Saved by the Bell. Both are not going to play. Justin Herbert has a high ankle sprain. You tease the Chiefs down to -1.5, basically just to win the game. Jets down to 1.5, Jets just to win the game. I think you have a winning teaser on Sunday.
All right, Nick, how are the 49ers, as currently constituted, 10.5-point favorites over anybody? This number seems crazy to me, where the Niners are.
Yeah, I agree. I bet the Patriots plus 10.5. Now, we did see San Francisco get bet Perloff a little bit yesterday because George Kittle was back in practice. So, like, a little good piece of injury news. Also, like, Trent Williams didn't practice yesterday. They're like future first ballot Hall of Fame left tackle. Another thing to consider here, if you're handicapping this game, the Patriots are coming off a mini bye. So, like, the last time we saw them, they got trucked, obviously, by the Jets. They've had 10 days off, as opposed to the Niners, who just played like a 60-minute drag-out like brawl against the Rams this past Sunday. So, I don't think the Patriots will win, but do I think they can lose by 10? Yeah, you're damn right I do. Perloff, I'm with you. Give me the Patriots plus the 10.5.
All right, Nick Kostos, time for your upset pick of the week. Who do you have for us this week?
Well, Perloff, you said you're really good at picking your own team. Who do you like with the Eagles and the Bucks on Sunday?
Oh, God, don't make me do this. I kind of think the Eagles have the Bucks number. From last year's regular season. The playoffs was a disaster. Just that game from last year's regular season was 25-12. I feel like it's going to be a low-scoring Eagles win. Jalen Carter has woken up out of his coma. I don't know what I'm basing that on. I just have a vibe the Eagles win.
Perloff, that was like week 3 last year.
Yeah, that's what the Eagles are. They're going to that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to be good in the first part of the year and then completely implode.
Yesterday at practice, no A.J. Brown, no Devontae Smith, no Lane Johnson. Seems bad. Dallas Goedert was awesome last week, obviously against the Saints, including like the 60-yard catch and run at the end of the game to set up the winning score for Philadelphia. Do you think like if A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith don't play, like, hey, Todd Bowles maybe knows, hey, let's take Dallas Goedert out of the game. That should be it for the Eagles passing attack. I'm way down on the Eagles here. Tampa coming off an embarrassing loss last week against Denver. I love betting Tampa in this spot. I think Jalen Hurts is awesome. I do. This is not like an anti-Jalen Hurts thing. It's kind of like, Maggie, what people say about Josh Allen, maybe pre-Joe Brady. Jalen Hurts has turned the ball over since the start of last season 5 more times than any quarterback. I'm not hating on him. I think he's great, but he does turn the ball over a lot. And your head coach, Perloff, is lacking significant brain cells. I think the Bucs will win the game on Sunday. And I'm just going to throw this out there. Don't be surprised if things go off the rails a little bit for Philadelphia. Don't be surprised if the Bill Belichick rumors in season start heating up for the Eagles.
Wait, one thing. He may be a knucklehead, but good thing he doesn't do anything, Nick. They don't let him do anything.
His headset's not even plugged in.
His headset's like he's talking to the air. I don't even know if he has a headset.
No, but here's, and like I'm being serious here. This is like we want to win money, right? This is one of the reasons why I don't like the Eagles. So the Tim McManus, Jeremy Fowler story comes out, and I'll be really quick on this, right? Yeah. About last season with the Eagles, with Hurts and the divide with him and Sirianni. And the vibe that you get from that is Sirianni's going to stay out of it this year. He's going to let Kellen Moore run the offense and Vic Fangio run the defense. Yeah. So to me, it's problematic when at the end of the first half last week against New Orleans, down 3-0 in a game that you're dominating, 4th and 1 at the 14 with 14 seconds left. First off, you choose to go for it, like brain dead decision. Yep. And then he's the one that called the play, the fake tush push that got stopped because everyone saw it coming. So he gets up there. No, he gets up there in the postgame press conference and he goes, "That's not Kellen Moore's call. I made that call." Like, dude, like, you were supposed to stay out of it. I'm being serious, but Perloff, you're an Eagles fan. How do you have confidence if that's what's happening?
Because it's been 4 weeks, right? They're starting to learn Fangio's defense, and he put a vice on the Falcons and the Saints. I mean, he shut them down. I know the Falcons won that game, but that wasn't really a win. That was a fluke. I mean, they didn't do anything all game. They did not move the ball well. And what he did in New Orleans last week, honestly, if Jalen Carter, just watch out for that man. He'll get
awesome.
tired by week 10, but
Also, the Saints center got hurt on the opening drive of the game. I'm just look. I think the Eagles are good. I don't think they're going to win this week against Tampa.
Nick, it's always great talking with you. Nick Kostos, you can hear him on You Better You Bet. It's the best. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Wishing you and all your listeners minimal sweats, winning bets, the absolute very best of luck. And Perloff, #fire the cannons, baby.
Oh, no. And fire Nick Sirianni.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah.
Hashtag and make sure Sirianni's in one of those cannons.
Put Sirianni right in front of that cannon and bring in Bill Belichick.
You know, unfortunately, we already have Bill Belichick penciled into the Jags right now.
Oh, I thought he was the Cowboys coach.
Oh, right. The Cowboys, too.
It's going to be hard. He's going to be a busy man coaching 3 teams next year. By the way, yeah, we still have not figured out, and we didn't have time to get into it, how on earth the Bucs got killed by the Broncos. That will be one of the great mysteries. 2 mysteries, how the Patriots beat the Bengals and how the Bucs got killed last week by the Broncos.
Some things are just unknowable.
Yeah, week to week, it is very difficult.
Okay, we've got lots more for you. We'll make our picks tomorrow, our official picks for college and pro. We're asking you a question. If you could start a college football program from scratch, you need an active college head coach to come in and be your coach. Money's not a thing. Who do you pick? Perloff says he wants Steve Sarkisian. I say I want Deion Sanders. Give me the eyeballs. Nick Kostos said he wants Kirby Smart. Went with a little safe choice. 855-212-4227. We get back to that and so much more. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
So happy right now. Bogus is so happy because that's a Dave Matthews Band song that doesn't sound like Crash.
I don't know this song.
Yeah.
This is his point. You're playing right into his hands. A Bogus claiming that every Dave Matthews song doesn't sound alike. Well, now it does. His voice kicks in. You're right.
He's not a voice actor. He's not Nancy Cartwright doing 3 things on The Simpsons or Hank Azaria. Come on.
Welcome back to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Andrew Bogus is here with us. He's got headlines. Really quickly, though, we do want to get your thoughts on our question today, which is if you are starting a college football program from scratch, you need a head coach. You can pay them whatever they want, but you have to go with somebody who's an active head coach. Mike is in Pittsburgh. Mike, who do you have?
So I know it's not going to be a popular answer just because some of the stops that he's had before. But for me personally, Greg Schiano with Rutgers, when he's had total control of a program, and now he's not got some of the top recruits at Rutgers, but what he's done, he's recruited athletes that have played other sports, and then he's really coached them up to be football players. And now, you know, I know he's not the greatest name out there with some of the stops that he's had, but just from a coaching standpoint, I really think he knows how to bring a program along.
Yeah, but Mike, you get to run this program. Do you really want Greg Schiano there? Like, wouldn't you want someone a little more fun, like Lane Kiffin?
Greg
Like, you got to hang out with this guy.
In the same. What college football coach is actually fun?
Lane Kiffin,
Mike,
Steve
thanks for the
Sarkisian,
call.
anyone, but what college football coach is not fun? There's one name that jumps to mind, and that's Greg Schiano.
Listen, it's better off when Sark's not fun.
Yeah, but I'm
you
just saying.
want this guy
but at
as
least
boring
he's
as possible.
personable. I mean, like Greg Schiano, he's a tough football guy. I would not want him. And also, too, you want to score a lot of points. Nah, that wouldn't be for me. Would you pick Greg Schiano?
I appreciate what Greg Schiano has done, turning around programs and stuff. Rutgers, we'll see what they do this year. They're undefeated. They play Washington on Friday night, so that's going to be kind of fun. It's not my number one choice, but, you know, listen, if I'm looking for hard-nosed guys, it's a football coach, for goodness sake. He's not DJing your Sweet 16. What are you talking about? I need someone to be fun.
Well, I don't know if you want hard. Yeah, I guess you do want hard. I don't want to be like
Saban was. These guys are all
I just don't want to. I don't want to be Michigan and hand the ball off 25 times in a row. I want to fling that ball all around the field and recruit the best quarterbacks. And I want Arch Manning, and I want I want fireworks. And I think you can win that way too.
Let's get to Bogus. She's got our headlines. You can keep your nominees coming. I said Deion Sanders. Perloff said Sark. We've had a lot more great ones.
We have a poll up too.
Oh God, I don't want to see those results.
Let's be quick here. Derrick Rose has retired 15 NBA seasons, 35 years old. He is the youngest MVP in NBA history back in 2011. He was 21 when he won it then. He was also a Rookie of the Year, 3-time All-Star, and because EJ likes these things, a 2-time FIBA World Cup gold medalist.
There you go.
So don't forget to mention that, too, with Derrick Rose. Caitlin Clark's rookie season ending with an 87-81 loss in Connecticut. Clark played all 40 minutes, posting 25 points, 9 assists. Now, the night began with her asking the officials and security to deal with a heckling fan. It ended with the Sun expressing their frustration with the social media hate they receive regularly, in particular from Fever fans. This is forward Alyssa Thomas.
We come to play basketball for our job and it's fun, but we don't want to go to work every day and have social media blown up over things like that. It's uncalled for, and something needs to be done, whether it's, them checking their fans or this league checking. There's no time for it anymore.
The WNBA issued a statement last night to say its security is monitoring, quote, threat-related activity. It will work with teams and arenas to address the issue as well as possible.
There's one thing I think that can help this a little bit, and this is on the media side. It's not necessarily, some of it is like media that wants to troll and things like that. When Caitlin gets a black eye or something, like we need to stop these like clickbaity headlines of Caitlin Clark got elbowed in the face. Look at her black eye, when we know that it was not intentional and we know it's just a basketball play. That's also fanning a lot of this.
That it's coming off like she's a victim.
That she's
being
the victim. That these women are
right.
brutalizing her, and like maybe that was an early on narrative, but that narrative still hung around. That black eye she got was just pure basketball. There was nothing malicious about that. But I saw so many social media posts, so many articles being like, look at Caitlin's black eye and what happened to her in the game, without any context of what happened. Like, that is also not helping the situation at all.
I think even asking her 2 days ago if she thought it was on purpose was an unfair question.
Yes.
Because of course it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, don't even give that thought any breath by asking her about it.
Right.
Yeah.
It happened. It's a basketball game. The latest wrinkle in this Matt Sluka UNLV story is that Sluka's NIL rep, Marcus Cromartie, is not registered to do business in Nevada. Marcus works for Equity Sports. Their clients include Patrick Mahomes. So he's not a hack, but there does seem to be too much negligence on Sluka's side of things right now.
Yeah, it's hard because you want to, in some ways, you kind of want to rush to say, hey, if this dude was promised $100,000 and this collective is not coming through with their end of the bargain, then obviously he would want to leave. But then you start getting into some of the details here. It's like, he never really had a written agreement.
Right.
It came from an assistant coach. Is that even right? Does the assistant coach have the authority to be saying you're going to get $100,000? So were they misled there? And then, if they're not licensed in Nevada, what's UNLV supposed to do?
Right. So I'm like, this is not debatable, right? They're all spent yesterday leaking their sides of the story. Sluka's dad spoke. Sure. The NIL guys from UNLV spoke. But like, this is just as a fact that this guy's not registered in Nevada to represent Sluka in a real way or in a bad way, in a legit way. So, like, that doesn't help your cause if you're looking for sympathy and you're looking to be the victim here when you've got a guy who didn't file the paperwork to be your rep in the state. Like, that's your fault. That's
I wonder
on you.
if Sluka has some kind of case against the agent.
He might. I saw other sports business guys tweeting about that yesterday, that the agent appears to have not done his job. They let Sluka down. Now, there was always the wrinkle of Sluka might have ignored his advice and did things without him, but it seemed like he didn't do his job as the professional in that relationship.
Yeah, but doesn't Sluka won't he make more money long term if the way it's going down now?
No, I think that what I'm talking about is like accepting a verbal agreement with somebody who doesn't have the power to make that offer in the first place.
I still think everyone's rude. I think him and his agent were looking for a way out to get more of a payday.
Well, that might be it. That might be it. But I also think maybe they wanted the $100,000 from UNLV. They might have wanted that too.
Right, but they were only getting 9, so they're like, God, it's your last chance to play football. You got to go make more than that.
And then I think that's his intention. Just got to make sure your agent is registered in the state you want to play football in. Seems like a quite large detail. Coming up, we got a big one for the Cowboys tonight.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Dawn, coffee brewing, pine needles, wakes up at dawn. Coffee brewing, screen turned on. He's got a favorite show to see, the Maggie and Perloff Symphony. Oh, pine needles are turned in tight to infinity. Sports radio every night. Maggie and Perloff, your daily delight. In their words, you find your life. From highlights to the breaking news, every take you can't refuse. In the chat, he's always there with comments, questions, wisdom to share. Oh, pine needles, you're tuned in tight to infinity. Sports radio every night.
2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Feels like the season's on the line for the Dallas Cowboys. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, and I'm not trying to be over the top on this one, Pearl. The Cowboys have been bad the last 2 games. They're lucky that they get the New York Giants tonight, where they're almost a touchdown favorite. They've historically been awesome against the New York Giants. But if they don't win tonight, and if somehow the Giants pull the all-time upset, then you've got the Steelers, you've got the Lions, you've got the 49ers who have just owned you. I mean, this could get very ugly very fast. And beyond that, I kind of think the Cowboys are in a little bit of a no-win situation here. And by that, I mean, even if they win, but it doesn't look dominant, I still think that's not a great sign. That doesn't show me that you've really fixed anything. So if they lose, forget it. Now we're, DEFCON 5, 1, however that goes, whatever the bigger one is. And then even if they win, but it doesn't look right, you're going to be asking yourself, how is this team going to actually compete for the playoffs?
Well, look at last year when they got killed early in the season by the Niners. I think a lot of people wrote them off, be like, same old Cowboys. But then they weaseled their way back into the conversation by being awesome somehow. And Dak Prescott had an MVP-like season. So sometimes they do defy expectations. That being said, this is obviously a must-win. If they can't beat the Giants, we had Nick Kostos on, likes the Giants tonight. I still think that the Cowboys are, I think a more likely scenario is they look good tonight against the Giants, and then we're all like, everything's fixed. And that, I think, is the possible mistake we could be making. You're not making it because you're very skeptical about this team. But I think a lot of people will be like, okay, we can breathe. Everything's good. But even this game, you're right. It's not going to prove anything.
Well, and let's be honest. Like, the more we learn about the Cleveland Browns, which is the only win that the Cowboys have this season, the more I think the Cowboys might be in some trouble here, because that turns out was not a big deal to go on the road and beat the Browns, because the New York Giants just did it. And the Browns might be in one of those awful seasons where you're stuck with this terrible Deshaun Watson situation, and Myles Garrett is hurt, and you got offensive linemen who are getting carted off the field, and this just might be terrible. So not only are the Cowboys' 2 losses bad, I don't think their win actually matters much at this point.
I kind of thought that same Browns team could have won that game against the Giants. They shot themselves in the foot a couple times in the second half. Let's say, at least if you're going to do associated property, the Giants were really close against the Browns. Right. The Cowboys blew them out. So maybe that's who cares? They're playing tonight. We'll get to see. I think, here's a question, Maggie. Yeah. How much pressure is Dak Prescott feeling? Because we know him and the Cowboys do not respond well on must-win games. So does what's happening and all this attention and being 1-2, does this make them play like playoff Cowboys, which is kind of panicky?
Well, yeah, the bigger the game, the worse it is for the Cowboys. But luckily, Dak Prescott has shredded the Giants. He's been so good.
I know.
For all the talk about how the run defense is clearly the problem in Dallas and you can run all over them, you would think that Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley would have had a little bit more success against them. But those guys were rarely healthy at the same time. So could Daniel Jones, who's a running quarterback, and Devin Singletary may be the next combination that can take care of this bad Dallas rushing defense? I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in the Giants tonight at all. But again, this isn't going to tell me a lot. And as far as Dak in a big game, I mean, the regular season, he's responded a lot better, obviously, than the playoffs. Let's hear a little CeeDee Lamb, because you're hearing this now from the Dallas Cowboys, which is a lot of accountability. Well, Dak, first of all, kind of throwing teammates under the bus, or not throwing them under the bus, being critical. I actually liked what he did. You want to call out guys because they seem like they're being immature on the sideline. I think that's totally fine. This team should be beyond that. Anyway, CeeDee Lamb heard that and said that he expects more from himself. He even admitted that the Ravens game really got into his head.
I expect a lot out of myself, more than anyone could put on me. And quite honestly, I failed myself, and obviously I failed the team just as far as producing and being that game-breaker player for the team, and obviously the guy that they can lean on. And, I kind of let the game get to my head a little bit.
I mean, that's a big admission. Here's more from CeeDee Lamb. Says he knows he had to take accountability because he hated what he saw on film.
Can't blame nobody. You got to start with the man in the mirror, and I'm a huge believer in that. And watching that game kind of me off, but hey, I did that. You know what I'm saying? I can't get mad at nobody else. So with that being said, I've learned.
So that was CeeDee Lamb taking full accountability here. And to me, this kind of feels like when the players call a players-only meeting. when everyone sort of airs it out, and you generally, the smart thing to do is do a players-only meeting before you are playing a team you want to beat, so it looks like it all worked. And when they beat the Giants, if they beat the Giants tonight, which I think they're going to, I think it's going to look like, okay, Dak called teammates out, they responded, and look how great things are in Cowboy land. Yeah, EJ.
I have a question for you guys, because I listened to that CeeDee Lamb talking about, I got it in my head, I don't know what I was doing out there. Sounds very familiar to the playoff game, where he was kind of moping around, didn't seem all that interested, seemed in his head again. They just gave this guy a lot of money. He's the second highest paid receiver in the NFL. Like, should there be real concerns about whether or not he can really live up to that kind of billing? Because you're talking about being that kind of high paid receiver. You're going to be playing in high profile games. You're in week 3 and you're in your head just like you were in the playoffs. That just seems, I know he's a great player, but that's really alarming. There's no growth there. None from the playoff game.
Yeah, by the way, can we just take one step back? I mean, yeah, he did not have a good game against the Ravens, but who cares? They were letting up 8 yards a carry to Derrick Henry. CeeDee Lamb could have been Randy Moss combined with Jerry Rice. If you can't stop the run on the other side of the ball, then your team's not going to ever get into a passing rhythm. He's like Micah Parsons. When they're front running, he's very hard to stop, because then you have to watch out for the Cowboys run game. You can't focus on Lamb. I don't know. EJ, to answer your question, I think if the Cowboys are playing well in the other phases, then Lamb will be good.
Yeah, but is that what you're paying for?
Well, what do you expect out of a wide receiver? You're paying $34 million a year. That's the market price. That's what it is. He's not going to carry the whole team.
But we always wonder with the Cowboys when games get away from them, right? Like what happened with Baltimore, what happened with the Saints, what happened last year with the Packers. When games are getting away, who's going to stop the bleeding? Who's going to make a big play? Who's going to do something? Anyone do something. And now you've got highest paid quarterback in the league, second highest paid receiver. You're soon to have the highest paid pass rusher in the league when Micah Parsons gets paid. Somebody do something. And none of those guys have been able to stop the bleeding when you've needed them to. Make a play, anything.
But
keep a drive going.
How is CeeDee Lamb going to do it? He's a receiver. I mean, come on. That's not the position that gets you in. Like, they're not the
tackle. Do something, and instead he's kind of in his head. I think, EJ, it's a fair question. The one thing about how could you pay this guy if you're worried that he's already in his head and this early in the season or there's no growth? I think that we have set the standard so low for wide receivers. Like, you're a wide receiver complaining or having an issue is just like, oh, well, of course, because they're wide receivers and they're so reliant on quarterback and everything else that they're allowed to complain more than anyone else.
Yeah, it's a diva position. I mean, what again?
I'm not saying it's right, by the way. I'm just saying I think that's how we treat it.
But it'd be weird to me. Like, I don't understand the formula. Wide receiver, the kind of things you guys are describing are team leader things like middle linebacker and quarterback and running back. Like, wide receivers are so game dependent. Everybody knows that. Like, the wide receiver can't catch the ball if the quarterback's laying on his butt. He's just got sacked in 2 seconds.
Yeah, but
what is CeeDee supposed to do?
You can block for teammates. You can make a play. There's always something. I think a football coach would tell you there's always something you can do to contribute, even if you're not getting the ball.
There's something you could definitely do, which CeeDee is not doing, is you cannot make things worse. And I think that's where maybe I'm getting at. Is that
by moping?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're talking about a team where, I mean, they kind of admitted last year that CeeDee's kind of antics, whatever he was doing on the sidelines, was causing issues in that game. I know that defense was bad, but it did mess up the offense. If you're going to win a Super Bowl, or you're going to go farther than you have, you're going to play in games where you're going to face adversity, where things are going to get tough. Is this who CeeDee Lamb's going to be? Anytime things are going not that great, he's going to be like this? Like, the next test he got, he failed already. He's only week 3. That would be a little concerning to me.
855-212-4227. So that is the question about the Cowboys, and I mean, it just kind of feels like the season's on the line tonight. Now, good thing.
Act together.
Good thing they're playing the Giants.
Well, one thing,
Sorry, Manny.
You guys are not going to be able to put this on CeeDee Lamb. I mean, like, there's so much blame to go around Dallas. Like, you could pick out 5 other guys, too. I don't know. I just feel like you could go down that road, and he was moping in the Packers game, definitely. He does not show up in big games, so we already knew that. Like, that. There's just so much blame to go around with Dallas. There's something systematic wrong.
Well, okay, if you want to go 30,000 feet, sure, Jerry and everything. Yeah. But, you're going to blame it on the no-name defensive tackles? Are you going to blame it on the guy who's making $34 million a year, who sat out the entire offseason and, now comes in and has no chemistry with the quarterback.
I think most people are going to blame Jerry and Steven for not bringing in better guys with names who are defensive tackles. Somebody stop the darn run. You said it all week. Like, that is, if you cannot stop the run, you're not going to win in the NFL, especially if you're horrible at it. So once the other team is gashing you for first downs on the ground, your wide receiver becomes irrelevant.
Well, we'll see if the Giants can do it tonight with
I think
Daniel Jones,
Devin
Singletary.
Devin Singletary is really good.
Listen, I know. I had him in Buffalo for a long time. I like Devin Singletary. Motor.
He could, I don't know. Daniel Jones, I looked at his stats, has not run well this year. I think he's getting a little older.
Protecting himself.
He's run a lot. But he's only averaging 3 yards a carry this year. His attempts are up, but his yards are way down. We'll see.
Yay.
Attempts up, yards down, not direction.
Averaging 3 yards a carry, not good for him.
Sounds like Giants football the past decade and a half or whatever.
855-212-4227. So that's on the table for you, the game tonight. We also have another question for you on the table, and I'm glad we're getting phone calls and we're getting a lot of response on this because it's not an easy question to answer.
Do you believe that?
You're starting a college football program from scratch, okay? You've got all the money and all the boosters and all the NIL in the world. Well, NIL doesn't really matter for this, but you got all the money in the world. You need to hire a coach. The coach can't be retired, so you can't bring Nick Saban out of mothballs here. Who would you pick to be your head coach if you could start a college football program from scratch? And I realize my selection is getting a lot of hate. I said I would pick Deion Sanders, bro.
Oh, no.
Now, I'm not on board with everything Deion does, but if I'm starting a program from scratch, I want someone who's got to be able to work the portal. Don't have time to go to all those high schools. So I got to get some people on the field right away.
I want y'all to get ready to go ahead and jump in the portal.
And if I win 4 games or 3 games my first year, guess what? I'm still going to have 1 million people watching my games, and I'm still going to have people interested in what I'm doing, and no one's going to turn their back on me if it's a bit of a slow start. And he took a 1-win team in Colorado and made him a 4-win team. So, there you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd rather try and win some football games, maybe. It's not a reality show. You want to win, right?
Yeah, and you picked who?
I picked Sark.
Easy. Too easy.
I mean, honestly, no, the easy pick would have been Kirby Smart. He's won 2 out of the last 3 titles.
Also
Harbaugh's gone. I mean, how many actual title-winning coaches are around? There's Dabo. I mean, Saban and Harbaugh are gone. So you really only had a choice between Kirby and Dabo and where's Ed O? I don't even know.
Well, technically, I don't think Jimbo's retired, but he's probably on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, yeah, Jimbo. Yeah, well, exactly.
I was just going to say, I mean, Ed O, I don't know, gosh, who knows who he is. But I was going to say, though.
Probably shopping for women's yoga pants.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
You just kind of laid it out there, Pearl. I was like, man, there's a lot of places I can go there. The one thing about this conversation that's interesting to me is I feel like I think Maggie's in the right direction, but I just don't know if she chose the right guy. Because I think if you're doing a start from scratch, you have to have a guy who actually started something from scratch. Like Kirby Smart has never done that. Neither has Dan Lanning. Neither has a lot of the guys we've named.
Yeah, but what do you mean starting something from scratch?
So we're saying we're starting a program from scratch.
Like a brand. Yeah, but that's such a rare thing.
Well,
I mean,
this is the exercise. You got to take something that was down and out, something that needed rebuilding.
Yeah, first of all, Mel Tucker won like 11 games there 4 years ago at Colorado.
Mel's got some other things, and I don't think I necessarily want him to be around my program.
He was enough to be the highest paid coach in the land almost.
That lasted like 5 seconds.
They're clawing all that money back.
So
I just feel like, to me, like, the problem with Deion is he hasn't proven he can build a program. Like, he's trying, and I think it's kind of like the jury's out. Like, I told you guys I would do Lane Kiffin because I saw him go to Florida Atlantic, who was 3-win team, and turned him into a good team so he can get a job like he has at Ole Miss. These born on third base guys, the Lannings, your Kirby Smarts, like I've never seen those guys build anything. I see them go to programs that had a lot of money, had a lot of prestige, had all the resources in the world to be great, and they've made them great, but I just don't know if you're really a builder.
So wait, okay, but why did Alabama not want Lane Kiffin back?
I think he's a knucklehead a little bit. I think that's the real answer.
Why Alabama didn't even mention Deion?
That was not.
Yeah.
That was
why?
not.
But those programs don't need to be rebuilt. Like
you're trying to take someone to pass the torch from Saban and just keep the train on the tracks. This is a different assignment. I agree with EJ.
Well, let's see. What are the poll results? Is Deion winning?
No, we can do the poll results, though. So we asked the question, if you had to start a college program from scratch, which head coach would you want? 62% say Kirby Smart. 19% say Steve Sarkisian.
Damn.
I love that ad-lib there. 11% say Dan Lanning, and 7% say Deion Sanders.
Well, let's go to Joe. He's in California. Joe, who would you be voting for in that poll?
I'd be going with Deion because one thing Deion brings to a program is money. So no matter how much money I give him, I'm going to give my money back because he's going to sell out every game. And the only thing he really misses from being a winning coach is he needs better recruiters.
Right.
Like, he got good coaching, but he don't have good recruiters. So a lot of them 5-star guys, they get away from him because his guys don't recruit that good.
Well, Joe, I thank you for agreeing with me. I think Deion does bring in a lot of money to the university, certainly a lot of eyeballs. The one thing about recruiting is, your guys can go out there and they can start recruiting, but then doesn't the head coach kind of have to seal the deal? I think at some point, doesn't Nick Saban, didn't he have to walk into a high school at some point? Maybe not after the third national title or the fourth or the fifth or the sixth or the seventh, but at some point you've got to walk into a high school. I know Deion doesn't want to do that, but at some point he's got to start.
Well, now money seals that deal more than the head coach, so I'm not sure it's the same formula. I don't know. Did Pete Carroll finish the deal at USC, or was that Edo and Lane and Sark? I'm not sure Pete Carroll had to do much when he had that super recruiting team.
I don't know. Maybe for the ultra 5-star guys and for the big skill position players, maybe you want to. You always hear about like the coach takes the helicopter to the high school game and they show up and it's a big deal for everybody.
But I think what the caller says is totally true. Like, you need great recruiters. That is the key to the game. Except NIL's changed that a little bit. Now you can pay for it.
A lot to do. Keep these suggestions coming. 855-212-4227. Coming up next, we're going to talk to a man who literally is writing the book and wrote the book about NIL. And what is so fascinating about this, especially today, is the situation we have at UNLV where a starting quarterback, claims he wasn't given the money he was promised and now is decided to leave the team after 3 games. And the school is saying, we never had a deal in place, and now it's become this big brouhaha. Armen Keteyian, you know him. He won 11 Emmys as an investigative journalist. He's a New York Times bestseller, has covered every single sport. He wrote the book on NIL. He's going to join us next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. Well, NIL and college football taking center stage today because of the mess at UNLV. But honestly, Perloff, we could lead the show with this every day because it's so incredible. And one of our friends who's wildly talented has written a book that's just about this. It's called The Price: What It Takes to Win in College Football's Era of Chaos. It's by Armen Keteyian and John Talty. And Armen Keteyian, of course, is the 11-time Emmy Award winner, the investigative journalist, the multiple New York Times bestselling author. And we're lucky to call him a friend. Armen, thanks so much for joining us, and congrats on this fantastic book.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, John and I spent a lot of time on that one.
Well, you are no stranger to this world. We read you, with Tiger Woods and all these other books, but you wrote The System with Jeff Benedict almost 10 years ago, where you guys really showed us how the sausage was made in college football specifically. But now this is a new thing. And with NIL, everything has really changed, and you write about it. You see this UNLV story where a quarterback is saying after 3 games, I'm not playing for you anymore because I believed we had a deal for me to get $100,000, and you gave me $3,000. When you are watching this story unfold after just reporting all of this stuff for your book, what was your biggest takeaway? What's the most important detail here?
Well, I think it's inevitable. If you're home right now or you're in your car, you're just a big fan of college sports and you feel like, the roof is just collapsing around you. It is, because of what we're witnessing at UNLV. It's a he said, she said situation. Obviously, the agent saying, well, there was an offer, a verbal offer for $100,000 to stay. The university is saying that offer was never made. I know Rob Sine from Blueprint Sports. He's interviewed for the book. Blueprint is a Las Vegas company that actually Andre Agassi was one of the original investors in. Rob's a really ethical guy. So you're caught between another rock and a hard place here. But, there are no enforceable rules right now. So the chaos that you're seeing is inevitable. And this isn't the first time. I mean, Maggie, you guys can go back to Jaden Rashada, right? You go back to 2023. That was $14 million supposedly offered at Florida, that money that never materialized. And then there's actually a really interesting story that John Talty reported for us in the book. And it's this, I hope I get his first name right, Quishon Judkins, who was a running back at Ole Miss, who broke out as a freshman, 1,567 yards. And then naturally, sophomore year, the family comes back and goes, well, he's not sticking around unless we get high six figures. And Ole Miss paid that at the expense of going out and really funding an offensive line. Judkins had nowhere near the same sophomore year as he did as a freshman. Well, he's now at Ohio State, so he left. So this is what you get. This is the results of just decades of denial and delay by the NCAA to revenue share with the group, the labor force that has been providing billions of dollars over those years.
Armen, I know obviously it's just happening now, but back to that Matt Sluka thing. Is he just getting out of the current deal because he thinks he can make more money if he redshirts this year and takes another year? Is he just doing what's best for him as a player?
Yeah, this is free agency. Essentially, yes. But what you get is you have an agent that is not he's not licensed in the state of Nevada. You don't really know when he comes into the process. And a lot of these agents, that's part of the problem. There really isn't any vetting going on with the people that are representing these athletes who know about as much about it as the person that's standing over there who's not standing over there. So it's one of those things where absolutely it's supply and demand. He comes out of Holy Cross, Sluka. He was, I think, the 32nd best quarterback in the portal. So he got about what the market will bear, which is 100,000, or at least that was the offer. And here's the other thing. The school is saying, or the agent is saying there was an offer. Well, who made the offer? Odds are it was an assistant coach or a staff member who said, look, if you come here, here's the deal. But without any documentation or a contract, and this is just this brave new world that unfortunately the coaching staffs and the NCAA and the entire universe that is college sports right now is dealing with. And because there are no rules, there are no, I hate the word, but no guardrails, no framework. This is what you get. You get this complete chaos that just seems to consume the sport. At the same time, UNLV is trying to decide whether it's going to go into the Pac-7 now, and they decide ultimately to take the money and stay in the Mountain West. The one thing that you find out when you do the kind of work that we did in the price is if you stick with the word self-interest and greed, you're pretty much determining what the defining factors are now in college sports.
Armen Keteyian is joining us. His new book is called The Price, What It Takes to Win in College Football's Era of Chaos. And, of course, he's written multiple New York Times bestsellers. Now, you got to talk to basically everybody in this book, and you have so many relationships throughout college football of the highest power brokers and decision makers. Can they agree on what a good system is? Because if we all agree that this needs to change and that it's, this is not good for both the athlete and for the school or whatever, we all want a new system. But Armen, what does that even look like?
Well, that's hard, Maggie. I think that crystal ball right now is really cloudy because, as I said, when you have self-interest and greed as the defining factors, more so than the good of the sport, I think everybody right now, somebody mentioned, and I think it's very true, you have musical chairs, and that music is still playing, and everybody's worried about whether they're going to have a seat at the table when this thing finally settles down. But there's a chapter in the book called Oppenheimer, and it goes back to Sonny Vaccaro and the beginning of the O'Bannon lawsuit, and then you have Alston, and then you have House, and then you have NIL. And what you have now is these are like mini Oppenheimer effects. These are little bombs that are going off. That are basically telling the people that are the stakeholders in the sport, from Charlie Baker on down, Greg Sankey, Tony Petitti, the big Power 2 commissioners, if you don't come together and figure out a framework and a solution, you are going to witness one event after the other that ultimately could just consume this sport in a way that nobody is going to be happy about. And so I think it's probably 3 or 4 years off. You're going to have to see more events like this, conferences suing conferences, paying outrageous amounts of money to keep schools in the conference, doing what Tim Pernetti did at the American Athletic Conference to really keep his conference together. It's every man for himself right now, and that's just not healthy for the sport.
You know, there was some people saying yesterday that the NCAA should have done something. Everything you're describing, Maggie asked about, like, isn't any kind of like sort of rule that they put out there going to be legally challenged and they'll probably lose in court? Because it all feels a little monopolistic, price fixing-y. If any kind of NIL rule will have a lot of challenges to actually enforce it, right?
Absolutely. You have the situation right now. I'm very good friends with some people on the enforcement staff. John Duncan, who I think is a very honorable man, an ethical man, doing the best he can in a very difficult situation. Their hands are tied behind their back right now by the courts, particularly what's happening with Tennessee and their collective. But you can go back decades, right back when I was at Sports Illustrated in the 80s. I sat in Walter Byers' office in Mission, Kansas in the mid-'80s with Jack McCallum, questioning what was happening within the association. And if you go back to the beginning, I mean, the word student athlete and was just basically created out of whole cloth. It was made up by Walter Byers in order to protect the association against workers' compensation cases. And then the NCAA, to his discredit, has had opportunity time and time and time again in court when they have been called a cartel, when they have been told unequivocally that they're violating the Sherman Antitrust Act and that they're submerging and suppressing their labor force. What did they do? They challenged it time and time again in court, spending tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, when the Supreme Court rules, and as they did in 2021, that you're in violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act, and that's the beginning of NIL, I'm sorry, the floodgates are open, and this is the result of it. And we're going to have to live with this until, as Maggie, as you suggested, and I sat in those stakeholder meetings in D.C. that Bobby Robbins, the president of the University of Arizona, brought together. Greg Sankey was there. Charlie Baker was there. It was a who's who. We all walked out of there thinking, okay, there's hope. Well, that was June of 2023. That's more than a year ago. And I don't see any, and there's certainly no help coming from Congress. I can tell you that. Not right now, and not in this political season. So I just think we're going to have to ride this wave out, this tidal wave, until it gets so bad that people finally decide, okay, the better good here is for us to come together and put a framework together that's for the whole good, not for individual good.
Armen Keteyian is the award-winning investigative journalist, New York Times bestseller. The new book is called The Price, What It Takes to Win in College Football's Era of Chaos. It's just the latest of great work from Armen. Highly recommended. It's super entertaining, and it's every person you want to hear from is heard from in this book. All the biggest coaches, all the biggest power brokers. Armen, while we have you just for another second, do you mind if I ask you about another topic that you have really well researched in your life, and that's Tiger Woods? You wrote this incredible book about Tiger. I mean, it is just of all the books written about Tiger, this is the one you have to read if you're a sports fan or even if you're not. You watched Tiger, and you guys did so much reporting on his relationship with his father, Earl Woods. When you watch Tiger caddying for his son, or when you watch Tiger with his son now and their golf relationship and the father-son relationship, what do you see after doing all that research on Tiger?
Well, just quickly, I always thought Earl was the most fascinating character in Tiger's life by a large, large margin. And people that have talked to us about doing a scripted series and things like that, Jeff Benedict, I've always said Tiger's dad is the real heart and soul of it. And it's really gratifying now. I mean, Tiger's going through a lot of issues, has been through a lot of issues, health-wise and otherwise. But I think his relationship with Charlie is one of the most beautiful, and of all the difficulties that Tiger has been through in his life, the mistakes that Earl made with him, Tiger's not making with Charlie. And I think it's just wonderful to watch. If you're looking for a fairy tale ending to Tiger's life, I think his relationship with his son is just at the top of the list. And so when you look at Tiger's overall accomplishments, I think he would probably argue that his relationship with Charlie supersedes however many majors and awards that he's won over the course of his career.
Wow. Hey, Armen, real quick, one more college football question. We're running up against a break. Did Nick Saban retire because of NIL? Yes or no?
No question. He lost control. If you guys know, and you do, if Nick wants anything in his life, in that program, in that organization, he wanted control. And he was losing control after that loss to Michigan in the playoffs when he came back and he had a line of kids outside his office, not to talk to them about development or getting on the field, but I need more money or I'm going into the portal. That was the beginning of the end, or that was the end for Nick.
Armen, it's fantastic. You and John Talty, Armen Keteyian, of course, wrote the book, The Price, What It Takes to Win in College Football's Era of Chaos. Perfect for this moment, literally this moment in time if you're a college football fan. Thank you, Armen. Great to talk with you.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful to talk to you both.
Appreciate that. Armen Keteyian, the award winner, a multiple Emmys, investigative reporter, New York Times bestseller. Worked at Sports Illustrated, but I was not there with Armen Keteyian.
Yeah, I just looked up 82 to 89. I mean, can you imagine some of the superstars that were on that staff back in the 80s? That's when Sports Illustrated was like bigger than ESPN.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid getting that cover, and Armen probably wrote now that I probably didn't know it was him at the time, but the iconic covers, he probably wrote dozens of them.
60 Minutes.
Oh, yeah.
60 Minutes
Real
Sports, Real Sports. I mean, Armen was doing sideline for Bills games, like just amazing.
By the way, did you come away from that interview with any hope that the college football is going to figure this out? Because I actually, a little bit of hopelessness, because Armen said he walked out of that stakeholder meeting and they thought, okay, we figured this out, and it's been nothing but chaos since. It feels like it's like an out of control storm in a sense.
You want to know what's going to happen? The people who have been very used to making the most money are going to have to get used to not making the most money.
Yeah, right.
Because that's what, look at in professional sports, professional football. Does the coach get paid the most, or does the quarterback get paid the most?
Yeah.
Right. So the coach is going to become less of, I don't say less of a factor, but kind of.
Oh, my God, Maggie, these coaches and these ADs and these administrators, they know how to fight for their financial life. They are well skilled. They'll go down scratching, and there's no way that they are going to give up control.
It's like rich people getting divorced. It's like, I've become accustomed to a certain lifestyle. I get it. You want to keep that coming, but if this is going to work, more of the money has to go to the players. That's just the bottom line.
Right. Well, I think NIL is a perfect solution. They're like, well, more of the money has to come to the players. So you, the fan, you pay for that.
Yeah, how about Tennessee? Here's a 10% extra charge on your
that's
tickets.
What they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I think you're right, but I think it's going to take a long time.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Andrew Bokish does all the headlines for us, and we'll give our final thought before the Cowboys and the Giants game tonight. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Dependable Player of the Week is sponsored by Depend and the Prostate Cancer Foundation, reminding you that health is a long game and screening for prostate cancer is easier than ever. Learn more at depend.com. Well, we were just talking to the break with Andrew Perloff. He is not our Dependable Player of the Week.
Well, wait a second.
He's got a major
no.
dilemma coming up, which we will try to help you out with in a moment.
Okay, so I haven't failed yet, Maggie.
No,
That's all I'm saying.
We're going to save you from the brink of
Please.
failure. The Dependable Player of the Week. Who picked this one, EJ or Manny?
That'll be me.
I think you're going to go with someone from the WNBA last night, and I think it's going to be somebody from the Lynx. But I'm not sure who you're going to pick.
I'll go with Jaden Daniels because he was a big star.
I'm going to go with Josh Allen.
I feel like I've been wearing a hint the entire day. And
Yeah.
nobody picked up on it.
It's your T-shirt that has all the WNBA stars on it.
Right, but what team is this?
Tino Charles.
The Liberty.
Right.
Oh, Sabrina Ionescu?
Sabrina Ionescu is the Dependable Player of the Week with her 36-point performance and 9 assists in the series-clinching win for the Liberty against the Dream on, what was that, Tuesday.
Very good choice. Okay, so Perloff has a dilemma, and we have to get headlines in with Bogish as well. But tell everybody your dilemma, and we're going to try to help you.
My anniversary is tomorrow, Friday, and I have to, after the show today, I have to go
Cancel
shop.
it.
What's that?
Cancel it.
Divorce.
Manny, very obviously not married. These things are not cancelable.
Oh. What do I buy?
How many years is this?
15.
Wow, that's awesome.
Big one.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Get
Yeah,
her
that's
a
a-
Carson Wentz poster.
Oh, we destroyed it.
So-
darn it.
Damn.
Manny,
Can I
where
tell
were
you, I already
last
bought a
April?
little thing. I already bought a little thing, but it's not enough. I saw there's a TikTok trend. There's a popular bag, a leather bag that only costs $25. So I
Nice.
made my daughter buy it. And she goes, Dad, you're not getting just a cheap bag for Mom for her anniversary. So I have to get an additional $40 thing.
Yeah, you've got
I
a
think
peanut gallery too, who's just judging your
Yeah.
gifts, which is tough.
So I don't want to spend $300 on earrings. Like I
She's
gotta
not
tell
going to
you,
want you to spend $300. You guys been married for 15 years.
we have a family budget here.
Yeah.
It is not the time to buy fancy earrings.
Sure.
But 15 years apparently is crystal. So
I don't usually follow those rules.
Does anybody?
Yeah, like I think when
My
you get
mom.
to 25 and gold and platinum and that stuff, crystal.
Yeah.
So is there like a practical thing I can do with crystal?
a vase or like glasses. Like matching wine glasses that say his and hers or you and me or
That sounds great. Something that will break
These are all
in 3
Google
days.
searches.
Actually, okay.
Imagine getting his
You
and
can turn
hers
Bogus's mic
glasses.
off. Maggie, I'm only looking through you.
If after 15 years, my husband's like, here's his and her glasses.
here's
I'd
it.
be like, so we can smash them over each other's heads? What are we doing here?
I honestly, this was really not a question for Bogus. This was for the woman in the room.
I know. Well, you and I don't have the same taste as your wife. We know this
Yes, you
because
do.
I like flowers and you don't like to give flowers.
Nah, what a waste of money.
I
They
know.
just die in 3 days.
I know, but you like them while you have them.
Not for you. It's for them.
I understand, but honestly, I'm allergic. No, we have so many household. I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old daughter and a wife and me. The money flies out like there's no tomorrow. We cannot waste $20 on tulips.
On flowers. Okay. The answer is always and forever just night away. Now, granted, that's going to be kind of expensive, and you got to find a way of where your kid's going to go and all of that. But
Maggie's
that's
trying to
always
crush
the
her
correct.
wallet right now.
That's always the correct answer.
Night away. Who's watching the kids?
The
Are
oldest
they
one.
old enough now?
No, I don't think so.
No?
She just turned 14 the other day.
Oh, let him go.
Come on. What are we doing?
Overnight?
I was watching my overnight.
Overnight. Oh.
That's wait. What do you?
When I
could
said
go
night away, did you
said
guys
night
think
away?
that-
You guys didn't make that connection.
Did you guys think that was a French restaurant in the West Village or something? It's night away.
This is why we're behind the glass.
Well, does Mr. and Mrs. EJ want to practice for down the road? Let them, the girls stay at their
Babysit?
apartment in Queens for a night and see what it's like?
Stay.
Do they like a dog?
You
Can
get-
they walk Lita? I'm sure Andre would love
You
it
get
to have me
married.
walk
Here's
my
a
dog in month.
14-year-old and a 12-year-old. We're really gonna fast forward this
Good
thing.
baby steps.
I think you can't go wrong with like dinner and a movie.
Well, we're doing it. Oh my god! I need a present. I need a thing.
$25
Crystal.
Target
Oh, I
gift
got
card.
it for you. I got it for you.
Yes.
Massage. Paying for
Okay.
a massage, facial, some
Yes.
kind of service that she can enjoy.
Yes, here is a $35 gift certificate to massage.
Oh, my God.
This place in Koreatown.
It's not gonna.
No whirlpool, no whirlpools involved in this, all right?
Gonna be honest though,
I got a guy. It's great.
Gift certificate for a massage at in Queens and Jackson
no,
Avenue.
you get there and it's got like a C-. It's like, wait a minute, I thought only restaurants got grades.
How much is a massage at a good spa cost? Or like, how much does a spa day cost?
A lot, but you can
Yeah.
probably go to a nice place. You can probably get away for like $120.
I would like to do, and I got to be honest, I'm not a spa guy. I've never done a spa day.
It's awesome.
It's
Yeah,
the
I know.
best.
You just like, what do you do? So you go there, you wear robes, you get a massage, you drink orange juice. Like,
It depends what kind you go to. Yeah, you can do that.
Basically.
There are some places you can do it to where you can go into these super hot saunas, like ultra hot. You can get people will bang on you with like cypress leaves. Whatever you want, you can get.
whoa.
You get an old man to just like hit you with cypress leaves. Hey, don't knock it till you try it.
I think those were the same ones that Robert Kraft were with.
Actually, that one only cost you $30.
Yeah, don't send it to where Robert Kraft went.
But he's also naked. So
You can pay an old
that's
man to feed you grapes.
You're both naked, which is weird. I should make a joke about that. He's in a bathing suit.
Oh, that went off the rails. Maybe I should go back to Bogus for advice. Turns out Maggie's
Crystal,
got
huh?
some unusual ideas for her night away. What is going on here?
It's a Russian spa down on Wall Street. It's fine, very well known.
Maggie has all the passwords, all the secret words.
Yeah, I have a lot of,
Onomatopoeia.
I do have a lot of friends who go to the Russian bath.
Yeah.
That's like a big thing.
Some of the passwords are in Russian.
It's
How about
da.
I can send you some places. I've been to some spas. I can send you some places.
It doesn't have to be like $300. You can do $120. You can get something nice.
Or you can get her a gift card to Starbucks.
How's your girlfriend, Manny?
It's that kind of intimacy that's been keeping their relationship alive for 15 years.
See, I actually heard this the other day. Gift cards are like a giant scam, right? Like basically,
a lot of people don't use them.
A lot of people don't use them. It's like billions of dollars being wasted by the American public on gift cards. I don't want to get her a gift card.
I use my gift cards all the time.
I love gift
them.
cards.
You guys like, okay.
I love them.
Well, I know what to get you guys.
$25 for their birthday next year.
By the way, can the girls stay with you, Manny? If because EJ's got the dog and the name.
Hell no.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say, can they walk?
What are you, John Ralphio? Why'd you sing that?
They are the worst.
The worst. No, Manny already has too many little. You have younger siblings, right?
No, I'm the youngest.
Oh, you're the youngest.
Wait, how come your daughters can't walk my dog? Wait, you don't
obey my dog.
They can't. You don't trust them?
Oh, if you live near, I would let you hire them in a second to walk the dogs.
I'll be real. The teenager that we've employed in my building. Not the greatest. A lot of I fell asleep. Didn't realize I need that was today, or not feeling great. Didn't realize I had to do that today.
I'm sure with your knee
I keep telling
injury.
Andrea, I'm like, what is going on with this dog work? And Andrea's like, she's 16. Like, this is just what 16-year-olds do. They just got to flake. They just don't want to do it. They're asleep at random times. Like, this is what we're doing.
I'm sure with your knee injury, that's a lot of fun to deal with. EJ.
Like describing some alien life force. It's like, I don't know. They sleep at weird times. I'm not really sure what they're up to. Want to sneak a headline in?
No. Not really.
All right, can I ask you a question?
Teenagers aren't the only ones not working today.
Is there any more word on when the baseball games are going to be played?
Monday.
It's all decided.
Is that official?
Yes.
He's not listening to anything you say.
No, I thought you said that was all up in the air still.
No,
and the MLB
the
had
actual
discretion.
playoff teams are up in the air.
No, I thought that they might not play the last game. No, am I wrong?
Well, they're scheduled. Like, that's what's happening. Now, in theory, could they, like Bogus said, play one game? Because maybe only one game matters?
I was listening. Yeah,
I don't think you
presented
were.
all these scenarios. Now you're saying it's all settled?
There's going to be games on Monday. They're right now
How
currently
many
scheduled
games?
to play 1 o'clock and 40 minutes after the conclusion of that game in Atlanta. But I guess technically there's a scenario where maybe only the first game matters, and they can just go, okay, whoever wins, move on. But like, the games are on Monday.
Sorry, I didn't memorize these scenarios. Like, they all make sense.
Perloff is too busy looking up dicey spas and outer boroughs to try to send his wife there.
Oh, you guys missed that I spent $25 on a leather bag,
Yeah,
and
that
I'm
ain't
trying
leather.
to present that. Trying to present that as my gift.
Did you buy that on like a Jamaica Avenue?
Oh, it was hot on TikTok.
Yeah, those aren't real.
Does anyone want to give a bet for the Cowboys-Giants game tonight? Who's taking the... I'm taking the Cowboys and laying the points.
I bet you I'll be sad.
Now that one, oh my.
Kostos freaked me out. Nick
Kostos freaked me out,
He freaked
too.
me out, too, because, I mean, we need the Cowboys for content. If they lose this game, they're done.
No, he freaked me out that he's taking the Giants.
No, that's what I mean. Like, he convinced me that the Giants have a real chance in this game. Like, and I get it, because if you can get the running game going and keep Dak in check. Hey.
I think all Nick Kostos Giant stuff, I'm going to wait till week 8. Because remember,
Tommy DeVito's in?
He really loves the Giants. I respect that about him. But
He's not wrong, though, about the fact they would have beaten the Commanders if they had a kicker.
I know, but he guaranteed they were going to win that game.
Well, he didn't know Graham Gano was going to tear his hamstring
That's
or
true.
whatever.
But one of the things that makes me nervous, the Cowboys own the Giants. Like, eventually, when one team owns the other, eventually it fizzles out.
Ain't eventually yet.
Oh, you're thinking they're due?
Yeah, much like the team that the Harlem Globetrotters played, the Washington Generals, they're due.
Fun. This is fun.
All right, Krusty the Clown. Thank you, EJ Stewart. Thank you to Manny Rodriguez. Thank you to Andrew Kaplan and Andrew Bogish. Thank you to Armen Keteyian, who joined us, Nick Kostos, who joined us, the Weedos and the Coffee Drinkers. You know who you are. See you tomorrow.